Nerdrotic.com.
I was late on that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, you beautiful fake audience out there. And let's get to the real one. I was talking about the applause there. Welcome, everyone, to a little Nerdrotica night. Just you, me, and the evening. Depending on where you are. If you're in Australia, it's the day. And you're as oppressed as I am here in California. I'm feeling so wonderfully oppressed, but it was a beautiful day here in California. And the temperature was in the mid-70s, and we couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't go. I guess we can go to the beach, but why? I don't know. I guess people like going to the beach. I grew up in San Diego, never liked going to the beach that much, except to get really loaded at night. But let's see who's here. Let's see who's here. There's a couple things to talk about. We got David B., Elizabeth Lyons, John Robertson, Linner N. Tyrion, Benjamin 3000, Dobby the sequel. Is that like Dobby from Harry Potter? Eric K. and his wrench. What's up? Andrew Grimm. And we also have Wayne Nelson, the Saint. Love that show. Travis Crust, James Seabright, Cosmic Elf, Flamethrower Candle. Thank you for the super chat. I'll get to it in a moment. Fatty, as I always say, kisses right back at you. You're just big boned, but we like them curves. 200 Watt Studio, what's up? Darth Morgoth, because I can talk. The second, BH, and Rob Atlas. Welcome to Nerdrotic at Night. It's a nooner. It's a nooner somewhere. Yeah, I meant to do this earlier, but I finished up my Doctor Who video. Please check it out if you haven't already. I liked it. And then I'm doing a big Luke Skywalker video because I promised I wanted to talk about The Mandalorian a lot on Twitter, but I have to stick to my own philosophy that this is my platform and I have to save all my takes, strong or not strong, right here. And that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to discuss the return of Luke Skywalker. I'll talk about the episode a little bit. I'm going to work on a full season review. And I know I don't think it's caused a controversy. I just think it's presented a situation for the hashtag, the fandom menace, the fandom in general for Star Wars, because I will spoil my video right now. That's going to come out tomorrow. Star Wars is saved. A franchise I thought was dead is saved. Now, does that mean I'm all, woo, Disney pom-poms? No. Oh, God, no. But doesn't matter how I feel about Star Wars or Luke Skywalker or the fact that you can't put the soy milk back in the tiddy. Hear that, Mama Susan? I said tiddy. It doesn't matter. Because the message was sent. The vast majority of the fandom was happy. We don't really want to take that away from anyone, especially in 2020, the year of shite, when a bunch of people collectively feel a lot of joy. Let them. And I have no intentions of trying to take that away from anyone, nor could I take that away from anyone. But it doesn't mean we forget everything about what Disney has done, right? So there's the moment at the end of The Mandalorian, and there's this pure moment where fans remembered what it was like to be a Star Wars fan. And yes, CGI was bad. No, it wasn't Mark Hamill. Well, it was Mark Hamill. See, I didn't know it was Mark Hamill until I found out this morning that the scene where he is conversing with the Mandalorian, that is Mark Hamill, de-aged. So he was there on the set acting. That's important. That's good. Does it take away from the fact that all roads lead to Jake Skywalker? Not until Disney says so, and that's where I stand or sit. It doesn't mean I don't have an open mind about it, but the bummer, I mean, listen, it didn't break me up. I didn't lose any sleep. I am a happy, joyous, and free guy. But I didn't get to feel the joy that a lot of you got to feel, because I couldn't get that image out of my mind. And I know all paths lead to Jake Skywalker. Retroactively, I might feel differently about it if they decide to change paths. And the opportunity is there. Disney has this massive opportunity right now to change gears. And I think they are doing that, but I'm not going to be convinced just yet. I need a lot more. A lot more. I'm not going to forget the alt-right freaking Russian troll bot narrative that Disney pushed. People from Disney pushed that narrative. That's the one you know what? You can erase Luke, bring him back. I'm not going to forget that. I'm not going to forget that you went after fans in defense of a crappy movie that you knew was crap, and the entirety of The Mandalorian is an admission that it was crap, and you decided to go after your paying customers. That's not something I let go without acknowledgement. Has Jon Favreau, now does Jon Favreau have anything to do with that? No. It's very good to have a new face on this franchise. And one of the first things he said coming out was, we need to respect the fans. Good. Kathleen Kennedy's still there. Pablo Hidalgo's still there. A lot of people are still there who are, is Rianne Johnson really out of the picture or not? Would we feel differently with all this goodwill if they decided to bring him in to write a movie or a series? I would. I would. My beef with Disney Star Wars, outside of just what they did to Luke in The Last Jedi, was all of their support of the access media directly attacking fans. Everybody has their own little angle, take, whatever, on their different channels, and they're all very good, and that's why I subscribe, and I am subscribe to these channels, and I'm friends with some of these channels, is I enjoy their different takes on things that sometimes end up in the same place. Mine has always been to go after the access media, because that's the reason I came to YouTube in the first place, was the mainstream media and the access media were not telling me the truth. And I knew it. They were playing out farces, like I talked about my Doctor Who video. And now we're at a point where we can go, okay, we know you're full of shit. You're continuing to be full of shit. And I no longer recognize you as not even an authoritative source, as a source for information. And I think that's why a lot of people came over here to YouTube, and that's why YouTube has been blamed for a lot of things. The only thing they're responsible for, besides their background shenanigans, but over the last few years, is bringing people together who had nowhere else to go because of their opinions. That separately does not stain or take away a moment, just a moment the fans had. And they deserve that moment, and they have earned that moment. I don't know if Disney earned that moment, but the fans did. And I don't think that moment happens without the hashtag, the fandom menace. As a matter of fact, I know that moment doesn't happen without the fandom menace. We'd be full on into the intersectional feminist Mandalorian if it wasn't for that. So, well done. Does it mean mission accomplished? No. God, no. Hell no. Are a bunch of people just never going to come back to Disney? Probably not. Did Disney earn that? Yes, they did. I never want to say never, but as it stands right now, I'm not going to buy anything for Disney Star Wars. I'm still going to refer to it as Disney Star Wars, as I refer to Luke Skywalker as Disney's Luke Skywalker. That's what we got right now. My Luke Skywalker, your Luke Skywalker from the original trilogy, belongs to George Lucas. Still, in my opinion. And a lot of other people too. Gary Kurtz, Lawrence Kasdan, Mark Hamill. And, I'm not crazy about Mark Hamill's act on Twitter at all. That's why I do not follow him, so I don't see a single thing he tweets, and I'm fine with that. Do I think this redeemed the character though? No. I just think it was a moment that people should enjoy the hell out of, and that's a great way to end your season. Despite what it does to the story, it doesn't matter because everybody's talking about it. It's like a reverse red wedding. It was a pop cultural moment. One that will be remembered forever, and it really depends on what Disney does with it from here on out. The ball is in their court, and the fans have spoken. We have spoken, and you can use like, this is the way, because it is, and we'll see if they actually follow through with that. And, I agree with Doomcock. They absolutely have to get rid of the Disney trilogy, put it wherever they need to put it. I don't think they're going to do it, but I hope they do. And I think that would help a lot of fans. I think it would. As far as, I don't know if it helps me, but it doesn't matter. I'm just here to cover pop culture, and I will cover Disney Star Wars, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And The Mandalorian has been good. Great? No. Good? Yes. And that's all they needed right now. And I love what Rich said. I was watching the Red Letter Media's review of The Mandalorian at the gym, and Rich was spot on when he said Disney Star Wars is like the bad guy in a 80s slasher horror film that once you think he's dead, he just pops back up and keeps rising from the grave. And I mean, it's like no other franchise will ever get as many chances as Star Wars has gotten. And it's because people love it so much, and it's such a simple thing. And I've said this before, but I do not mean, this is no disrespect to Star Wars fans. You're not hard to please. That's not a bad thing. You're not high maintenance. And you proved it on Friday, and Disney doesn't need to reinvent the wheel and make Breaking Bad out of Star Wars. You just need it to be Star Wars. One thing it cannot be from here on out, aside from Disney trilogy, that specter is going to be there. It's not going to go away anytime soon. Disney bought themselves a ton of time. They got 5 or 6 years. They can kick this can down the road, and everybody's going to focus in on these shows. And that's exactly what's going to happen. And it doesn't really matter at this point if they erase it, or even they can just ignore it completely for 5 years. But they can't make it their platform. It's not Kathleen Kennedy's platform for her intersectional feminism. It's not your platform for your identity politics. And the minute that stuff starts taking over, which it could, then I think, we're just going to be right back to where we started. So is The Mandalorian another Force Awakens, or is it really Disney turning the page and trying to go in a new direction? And Disney doesn't know that. We don't know that. Nobody knows that right now. So the only thing we can go on is what they've done in the past. And it's completely okay to be skeptical. I am in that camp. I'm just not going to get on anybody's ass if they enjoyed that moment. I support you fully. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what Disney's supposed to do. We're here to be fans. You're here to bring people together. And for a moment, something with Kathleen Kennedy's name on it brought people together. Took them 8-9 years to do it. Was it so effing hard, Disney? And I think for a lot of people it was. You can tell. We're going to go over Brian Young's statements. They're filled with vile, as they always are. And yeah. We've got folks on Twitter who are just still pissed. Still absolutely pissed and weren't moved at all. And I get that. And again, Disney's earned that. They've totally earned that. What's up, Mac Deckard? Thank you for the $4.99. It's sad when fans can out better deep fake Luke the day after ILM does their job. Yeah. I think it was what Jon Favreau was referring to in his interview today was He alluded to that. Okay. He said, we used the technology we had on hand, and apparently it was not deep fake technology. It was the ILM technology. Maybe the deep fake technology is proprietary and they're not allowed to use it, or they refused to use it because they didn't want to make somebody at ILM look bad or feel bad. You have to factor that in. The thing that screws up the most stuff in Hollywood is ego all the time. It's not the money. It's the ego that screws up most stuff. You're worried about hurting somebody's feelings. Some director feels like their vision is, for example, like a sixth Mission Possible film is something that's going to feed kids in Africa. It's egos. It's egos. But yeah, I saw that deepfake. It looked really good. Looked really good. Outstanding. Better than what they did. The CGI was not good. It wasn't. And that didn't matter to anybody. I'd say 75% of the fandom was happy after that. There was grown men in tears. I was getting DMs. I got DMs saying it sucked, and I got DMs saying I was crying, and I am not ashamed. That's okay. 200 Watt Studio for $2. Gary Az says sorry, but he's going to keep the baby. What? Oh, you know what? His body, his choice. 200 Watt Studio for $2. I'm absolutely against that. Yes, we got a big announcement tomorrow. It's not a baby. It's not a wedding. It's something else. I think you'll like it. I liked it. So I got to be quiet about it. I want to tell you guys so bad, but we're going to save it for tomorrow. We're going to save it for the real BB&C at 10 a.m. Pacific time. All right. So of course we're going to talk about Luke. You guys can talk all you want about Luke, and because I haven't talked about it much on this channel since Friday, and I've watched it a couple times since then because I'm going to binge it. So the plan is to binge it and then do a review. And I got to agree with Jeremy that when I binged season 1, it's better binged. But I still think you should release it weekly, and I think that's what Disney should stick with because more people talk about it. Like the Luke moment and other moments would have been lost if you dropped this all at once. The Ahsoka returning moment, whether you liked it or not, the baby Yoda name reveal moment, the Boba Fett return, all of that would have been drowned out by Luke if they had dropped this all at once. So I hope people understand this is why you release things weekly. This is why Mandalorian, which is a 7 out of 10 show as far as just general quality is concerned, compared to other TV shows, is the biggest show right now. The Expanse, which is out right now, is a much better show. It's a better written show. It's better directed. The characters are amazing, but it ain't Star Wars. That's you got that brand, and you bring back the big one, Luke. There's nothing that can stand up against that. Not even Marvel. And I'm sitting here thinking that freaking Star Wars at Disney Star Wars is in better shape than the MCU. Star Wars was dead. Star Wars was dead. Just a year ago, I was sitting here. What was it? Are we a year away from the fall of Skywalker? Yeah, I recorded my review. I had 7,000 people in a live stream right after I got back from the movie. And we were all saying, yep, it's pretty dead. It's not dead anymore. It's saved. It's saved. I mean, again, doesn't matter how I feel about it or anybody else. Disney Star Wars is saved. It's officially saved. And for now, they could certainly F it up again. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But right now, today, the franchise is saved. And there's still the specter, of course, of the Disney trilogy. But, I mean, be honest. I think a lot of you are on board. You're on board. You're willing to take the journey with Jon Favreau and check out the Ahsoka Tano show and check out the Rangers of the New Republic with the great Gina Carano. Well, I'm assuming she's in that show. Hail Gina Carano. And all the other shows, maybe not the Leslie Headland, the former Harvey Weinstein assistant, Leslie Headland. But a good portion of you are on board. Maybe, you're not going to go out and buy action figures and all the games and stuff, but you're certainly going to stay subscribe to Disney Plus and watch all of these shows and see where this thing goes. Again, that buys Disney years. According to a website connected to Disney, Ahsoka and the Rangers of the New Republic is not coming out till 2024. That could probably change. I imagine they would speed that up. That seems too far away to me. And it's going to culminate in that big event. A lot of you want it to be the erasure of the sequel trilogy. It could be just an enclosed story. It could be freaking a clone Darth Vader, or it could be Palpatine and the Rise of the First Order. We don't know. There's an argument to be made that enough fans are probably already back from Friday to where Disney doesn't need to do anything. They don't need to erase anything. They don't need to change a damn thing. They can just treat this like the Clone Wars was to the prequels. And by the time you get to the end, they've got their money. So there's the argument that was made that Kathleen Kennedy's job was saved by the popularity of The Mandalorian. I would believe that. I would believe that. We also have some Hollywood news. That BAILOUT, they got it. They got it. $15 billion. So as Disney's announcing 10 shows, Warner Brothers has full slate of movies. Doesn't look like anybody's starving in Hollywood. The theaters that they had the money to bail out, they knew we were going to bail them out. I know how I feel about that. I ain't happy about it. I want Hollywood to work. I don't want them to, if they're going to exist like they have been in the last few years, if they went away, I wouldn't be sad. But for the people who weren't ideologues and for the people in Hollywood who just want to entertain us, I want you to work. I want you to earn your own money. I don't want you getting any of ours. Where's the salon industry's bailout? That's been decimated. What about the restaurant industry's bailout? Decide to give $15 billion to movie theaters, and I hate to break this to you, it's a bad bet. They're going to get that. They're going to get that money, and they're going to go out of business anyway. $15 billion is going to buy them time, but it's not going to. $15 billion dollars. Apple's sitting on a surplus. Amazon's made $100 billion since March. Disney's borrowed billions. AT&T's billions in debt. What's up, according to Christy? I haven't seen you around these parts in a while. Welcome back. Thank you for the $2. I love the farting, the dog farting hearts. That's my favorite one. And I'm sure it smells like roses. Thank you, according to Christy. How's it going? Nikki D for $10. Wonder Woman 1984 is being outpaced by Tenet for its opening weekend box office in China. Can't imagine the U.S. box office faring any better. Think HBO Max will get a decent boost from the film this holiday season? I think so. I mean, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to review it. But I think it's going to be a dud. It already kind of flopped, right? And believe it or not, China doesn't like woke entertainment either. And we'll see. I think, once you have, and this has been brought up before, once you have the villains that she's already fought, she's fought gods and stuff, and now she's going to fight little Cheetah and Max Lord, Monkey Paw. It just seems like kind of a step backwards, doesn't it? Here's something to remember from Disney as well. Alan Dean Foster spoke up, said he wasn't getting paid. Star Wars writers among authors missing Disney royalty payments for novelizations report. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, authors of Star Wars novels received royalty checks for their work, but that practice apparently ended around 2012. Now the Empire is poised to strike back as a group action by authors of Star Wars adaptations and other franchises are going public. They claim that Disney has refused to pay royalties on book contracts since it absorbed Lucasfilm in 2012 in a $4 billion deal, according to a Wall Street Journal report. These writers say Disney has either delayed dealing with the complaints or stiffed them on checks that rarely total a few $1,000s a piece, and the Star Wars franchise isn't the only source of trouble. Oh yeah, wait, it gets worse. The Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America's Association claims other authors of books tied to projects from Indiana Jones to Buffy the Vampire Slayer came forward with similar stories of non-payment, all under similar circumstances to the Star Wars issue. Once Disney acquired the properties, the checks were no longer in the mail. Scum. And as far as Star Wars is concerned, looking at you, George Lucas, you knew this would happen. So I want a statement from George. What do you got to say about this? Are you going to back Alan Dean Foster, who you took his work and led a lot of people to believe that you wrote that Star Wars novelization when it was Alan Dean Foster? Now, you know, it was known and people were cool with it, but bruh, Alan Dean Foster's a science fiction legend. And all it would take is for George Lucas to step in to get all the Star Wars people paid. Where is he? Where is St. George right now? So either he's ignorant of it, which I highly doubt, or he was aware of this when he made the deal and didn't let anybody know. And that wouldn't be out of character for George Lucas. Oh, that sucks. That totally sucks. You know what? Independent, go indie, go indie. Do not give your stories to these giant corporations anymore. Do not. Yeah, it sounds sexy to write a Buffy the Vampire Slayer book, but chances are you're going to get pennies on the dollar for it when you could take that story and probably turn it into something you'll make a little more money on your own. Do not give your ideas to these giant corporations anymore. Not until they start paying up. And what happens is, this happens all the time in Hollywood. I'll never forget this. When I was taking my little film studio, my little film school in San Francisco, my 4-month intensive, we had a professional editor came in and she said, don't undersell yourself because you end up screwing over everyone else. She's all, I'm worth $100 an hour. That's my value. When you go out and do shit for free, it destroys my value. I understand you need work, but we all need to understand that there's a time where you say no. And I think that's what happens a lot here, and that allows the corporations to steamroll. And listen, people can talk union all day long. Unions generally don't protect people from much. They're good for going out and strike when they need something. But as far as individual issues like this, the corporations are getting so big, a union would be ineffective at this point. The Washington Street Journal report says dividing how much money they misspelled it. Dividing how much money may be owed is complicated, as sales and royalties for the books involved have fluctuated wildly over time. A Disney spokesman told the Washington Street Journal, "We are carefully reviewing whether any royalty payments may have been missed as a result of acquisition integration, and will take appropriate remedial steps if that is the case." 2012, last time I checked, that was 8 years ago. Disney, how fucking carefully are you doing? Are you looking over this like it's the Shroud of Turin or something? What the fuck are you doing? At least a half a dozen writers across a range of Disney-owned properties have reported that no checks have been received, said Mary Robinette Cowell, president of the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America. So, as we all praise Disney for bringing back Luke, and that's good, remember that they're screwing people over. Pay the man. Pay Alan Dean Foster. Pay these writers, Disney. Maybe take a moment. Maybe, you know what? How about you cancel the former Harvey Weinstein assistant's show, Leslie Headland, and The Alkalite, and take that money and pay the writers for Star Wars. I think that's a win-win for everyone. What do you think, guys? What do you think? Looking forward to the next episode of The Expanse. Best book, in my opinion. Have you seen The Expanse comic by Boom? I have. 4-issue run. First issue set around season 5, episode 2. Black Tiger 001 for 5 Canadian pesos. Yes, I have. I have. And I am very happy with everything The Expanse. I cannot recommend it enough. It is the best science fiction show on television. Season 5 started out better than season 4. I've watched the first 3 episodes 3 times each, and I want to watch them again because I have been so starved for entertainment, and it's good to have a decent show out there. And you know what? The Mandalorian is a decent show. It's a decent effing show. And I think we all need to remember that it's just a show, and it's not a show. And when I review it, for one, it's part of what I do. And I like to do it. If I didn't enjoy reviewing stuff, if I didn't I find some enjoyment in Star Trek Discovery. Mocking it is actually, it's one of the highlights of my week, is mocking Star Trek Discovery at this point. Doctor Who, no, there's still a lot of anger with Doctor Who. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm pissed, and especially since they recently, it's incredible. The weekend where Disney at least made it look like they were trying to make the fans happy. I still don't know if they were. I don't know if that was intentional or not, or if it was we wanted attention. There is a big difference. We wanted attention for our show. This one's for the fans. Don't know. Honestly, don't know. But on that same weekend, Doctor Who decided to disrespect all the past doctors with a single tweet, and then remind everyone, oh, we plan to F this show up from the start. We couldn't wait to do it. And by the way, that plan was there before we hired the actress to do it, proving they had no faith in the female doctor at all. And that same weekend, this goes down. Synchronicity. Would Batman see Dredd as an ally or an enemy? Flamethrower candle for $2. Well, does Batman see the Hitman as an ally or an enemy? When I would say enemy. I think Batman would view Dredd, because you got to realize Dredd works in his world, but if you bring Dredd to our world, that's police state. I mean, we love Dredd, but I think we love Dredd in the same sense you love an Archie Bunker. You know? Yeah, Dredd, I don't think Batman would see him as an ally. Now, wait. Now, if you drop Dredd into Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. Yeah, ally. Ezekiel, but you know, like Batman. Well, I mean, what is Batman? It depends on your era. The Batman I grew up with, the Batman from the animated series, which is a good amalgamation of all Batmans, would not see him as an ally. But they would probably work together, but he definitely wouldn't like the whole like killing people thing. Ezekiel Arias, thank you for the $1 donation. I appreciate it. You help keep the lights on here. You help pay my mom's rent, and she appreciates that. Hey, Gary, I enjoyed your appearance on Midnight's Edge today. Thank you, Nerd Cookies. I appreciate that. I had a good time. It was great being on the show. That's why the nooner's late. I wanted to give you guys a break from me, so I didn't want to jump on 2 hours after I was on a stream this morning. It's a little too much Nerdrotic. Got to space it out. The Price is Right review for $2. Kapla, my man. Long time no see. Happy Merry Christmas. Merry Happy Christmas to you, The Price is Right review. I hope you are well. It's good to see you too. All right, so let's take on Brian Young. This little twat. Because he's mocking Star Wars fans for liking, and we all know why he's mocking it. And just to repeat, just because I wasn't like emotionally moved by the scene because I am emotionally detached from the Star Wars trilogy, doesn't mean you shouldn't. And it doesn't mean I'm here to shame you or patronize you or think I'm better than you because I'm detached and I can be, I could separate myself from it. No, to the contrary, I wish I could have enjoyed it. I do. And I'm glad you did. And I will defend your right to do so. But let's get to this twat waffle here. Just because he makes a statement in here that like some would agree with, it's his motivation that's the point, I believe, of this article from John F. Trent. Star Wars writer Brian Young mocks the fandom menace for embracing Luke Skywalker. Star Wars writer Brian Young mocked the fandom menace for embracing Luke Skywalker in the season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. Young, who writes for StarWars.com, appeared on Slash Films podcast discussing The Mandalorian Chapter 16, The Rescue, where he not only mocked the fandom menace for embracing Luke, but he stated that the Luke Skywalker seen in the episode is the same Luke Skywalker shown in The Last Jedi. He's not wrong there. Until we see different, it's the same one, but it really isn't. I think the bigger takeaway is you have a writer for StarWars.com who wants the Luke Skywalker from The Last Jedi, which has clearly been rejected by the vast majority of the fandom. You know how I know that? Even the shill sites got a little excited when Doomcock reported his rumor that the Disney trilogy was being erased. Oh, they did. They got a little excited. And that tells me everything I need to know. You didn't like The Last Jedi either. You're just backing it because you're a shill. Brian Young's got his own problems. I'm surprised he's still working at StarWars.com. Not that I want anybody canceled. And I'm not going to get into those personal problems that he has that have been very public. Hail at Chewbacca. Young's comments about the fandom menace come after Slash Film founder and owner Peter Soretta, there's another one, stated, "I know you mentioned the word fan service before, Brian, but I could also see the angle that Filoni is giving the fandom menace. They hated, The Last Jedi, what they wanted from Luke. Does any of that hit you?" Young responded, "I think that would have a lot more weight if he was cutting down stormtroopers. Why? I think people in those costumes would be a lot different. I think they've purposely established it so he wouldn't be doing that. No. They wanted Luke fighting the most badass thing there, and that clearly isn't stormtroopers. Because we saw, the great Gina Carano and Bo-Katan and the pop singer or whatever I don't even know what. I always want to call her Kari B. Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks and Agent May mow through the stormtroopers like they're just cardboard cutouts. It wouldn't be impressive if Luke was mowing him down. Mowing down the dark troopers was way more impressive to me. But no, I don't think so. I think this Luke is so consistent with that struggling Luke of Return of the Jedi. How exactly do you see that? Now, again, just because he made a statement that I don't disagree with doesn't mean I agree with anything this guy's about. I fundamentally reject everything this guy's about. And the only reason he's taken this contrary position is because the fandom menace, a hashtag used by individuals sometimes, and that's all he wanted to do was take the contrary position, because even the slightest win, which the hashtag has already won in a lot of ways. Was it total victory? No, I don't think there was ever going to be total victory. And I don't think anybody should expect that. I think you voice your opinion, and it's up to you whether you're willing to provide a path to forgiveness, or if you're just willing to walk away. That's it. It's a franchise. It needs your money. And it looks like, to me, this franchise needs your money a little more than it needed it last year. I'm not going to come out and say they like you, because they don't. But no, I don't think so. I think, God, that keeps jumping around. I got to get ad block one of these days. I think this Luke is so consistent with the struggling Luke of Return of the Jedi, who is teetering between light and dark. And this shows that it's not a one-time choice, that he has to make those choices every day because of the power and the responsibility he has. Woo, you read a lot into, for one, Return of the Jedi and that little scene. I don't know where you get the constant conflict from the Return of the Jedi. Maybe if you've read the novelization, if you've read some comics, some EU stuff, but I've seen Return of the Jedi 100 times, maybe, in my life. There was a little bit of conflict there, but at the end, there was no conflict. There was zero when Luke tosses that lightsaber, and which was an amazing scene, and it had to work because you would think a 13-year-old kid would want him fighting the Emperor after he fought Darth Vader. We wanted more action. No, I was so locked into that scene. It was so perfectly done. And that's the killer about Return of the Jedi. I saw it when I was 13, right? So it's half a sloppy movie and it's half a beautiful, perfect movie. And that scene at the end when your sister, and then the music, which was not on the soundtrack for the longest time. I could not believe that. But yeah, that duel with Luke and Darth wasn't on the main Return of the Jedi soundtrack for years until a special edition box set came out. Yeah, you can get it on bootleg and stuff, but it wasn't available until a special edition box set came out years later. But that music, it was moving. That's what you expect to feel from Star Wars. But no, this guy wants a conflicted Luke. You're projecting a lot of shit on a scene at the end where he just came and saved little baby Yoda. It's always subject to the interpretation of the viewer. I understand that, but I didn't catch all that shit there. Maybe because I'm just a simple dude, but Young went on, unfortunately. And I think there's also a contrast here between his discussion about taking Grogu versus Ahsoka's, where Ahsoka looks at him and says, nope, his attachment is so bad, like we're out of here. Well, that was real. That's a good characterization of Ahsoka, but that's a character flaw. That's a major character flaw. She is still so burned and hurt by the betrayal of Anakin, she's not willing to help other people. She's off on her own, and no, that's not strength. That's not strength. That's a weakness. It doesn't make her a bad character or anything. It makes her a complex character, and that's cool, but I wouldn't look at it as a strength. He then compares this to Luke stating, and Luke, the Luke in The Last Jedi refers to his arrogance in thinking he could do this stuff, and he's just like, yeah, let's do it. He just wants your permission. You're good to go. Like, I'm going to take this baby. And I think Ahsoka's hesitation shows much more wisdom on her part than Luke has here. And so I think it's wholly consistent with The Last Jedi, he added. Is it wisdom to abandon something? Luke stated at the end of picking up baby Grogu there, he said, this thing will never be safe until it's trained. And Ahsoka just said, let his power dwindle. Young then mocked the fandom menace Young then mocked the fandom menace's intelligence, stating, but the sort of mind of the fandom menace sort, I don't think it's going to parse that nuance, so they'll take it however they want. Here's the nuance of my response, Mensa member Young. You projected your feelings on something, and other people do too. A lot of it was a projection of an idealized Luke. But all he did at the end there was bust through a bunch of dark troopers, and he took baby Grogu after baby Grogu asked for help. Ahsoka abandoned him. Now, she might have thought he was safe because he was with the Mandalorian. And I imagine that's who he ends up with eventually. But that Luke just showed up and helped. And it sounds like you want Ahsoka to be a smarter, better character than Luke, which certainly Disney might do, which will piss off a lot of people. With no apologies when I make this statement. If you like the character of Ahsoka Tano, that's fine. She's a cartoon character. She's no fucking Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker is Star Wars. And Young, you might want to think about why you hate Luke so much. Do you hate Luke because the fandom menace likes him? Because that's where it comes off. That's fucking nuance, bruh. That's also projection. But I'm glad you're writing for StarWars.com. This is why I am so happy. Somebody brought this up. Was it Willie Williams in Midnight's Edge? He put out a super chat saying, I think he was talking about Midnight's Edge and not me. But he's talking about Midnight's Edge should be the mainstream. They are the mainstream, I think, but not in the sense of we're attached to a giant corporation. The only thing that Brian Young's position, his platform is all based on who he works for. Brian Young goes off on his own. I don't think he's that successful. I don't think he has any weight. I don't think people will be interviewing him, carrying what he thinks. That little attachment to StarWars.com is everything Brian Young's about. I am so happy I don't have an attachment like that. I couldn't tell you how happy I am. I got you guys. That's all I need. I don't need anything else backing me. And it's nice to have that security and benefits. I'm sure the StarWars.com benefits are great. He probably gets paid, pennies, and that's fine. But to have such a hatred towards people you don't even know, for one, the hashtag the Phantom Menace is a lot of things. They're not agreeing on this at all. So to generalize them shows your lack of nuance or even bothering to investigate the matter or get your information right. It's just blind hatred and bigotry. And that's fine. We don't care what you think, and we've never cared what you think. And again, there is an agreement with the Phantom Menace, which is just a hashtag. It probably bothered him like it's bothered some other. There's other articles like that. It's really bothered some access media that it feels like Disney threw just the littlest bone at, I'm not going to say the fandom menace. I'm going to say the fandom. Because that's what all the fandom has wanted is Luke shown just a crumb of respect. So he says all roads lead to Jake Skywalker, and I'll say it, but we say it for completely different reasons. I say it because, well, until Disney shows me otherwise, that's where they're going. He wants it to be because the fandom menace was happy. I'll ask you in the audience, does that sound like a happy person? I'm going to hate something just because it made people I don't like happy. That's a no existence at all. Whoa. Holy mackerel. I just saw that. Doughboy the sequel for 200 Australian dollars. Good day. I knew we'd get some Aussies in here. Good day, Gary. The last time Star Wars was good, in my opinion, was Knights of the Old Republic games and comics. It had the enigmatic intrigue that current Star Wars has lost. At present, like you, I am into Savage Sword of Conan, yes, and into classic shows like Jeremy Brett's Sherlock Holmes. Merry Christmas. That's what I've mostly been enjoying too, is old comic books. I still have my old Star Wars comic books. I love those. I was reading some of my Indiana Jones comic books, especially the first couple that were by John Byrne and Terry Austin, which are awesome, which are like a direct sequel. They show you what happens to the Golden Idol and stuff. Yeah. I think The Mandalorian is good. It's good. It's not great. It's good. We'll see where it takes us though. As it stands now, my mind could change. I thought season 1 was better. But this one had much better moments, but it was about those moments. It was just about those moments. BH for $10. Taxation without representation is tyranny. Hollywood doesn't deserve a bailout. If they're going to steal our money, maybe we should stop paying taxes. Well, BH, I'd probably get in a lot of trouble if I really said what I think. Like, I would probably get in a lot of trouble if I said, I totally agree with you. And I would probably get in trouble by saying there's going to be a point where people are going to go, why am I going to bother? Like, we just witnessed a bunch of people burning down stuff and not getting in trouble. What's going to stop a bunch of people from going, you know what? I'm just not paying my taxes. We had a grace period this year, if you all recall, because of the COOF. I think we're going to have another one this year. I don't know how many people can afford to pay their taxes this year, to be honest with you. I got to tell you, I felt like a sucker when I did. I felt like and for the first time, I don't mind paying my taxes to a certain extent. I think it's theft, but it's also the law, so I'm not going to whine about it. I pay my taxes. I like good roads. I like my street lights working, and my stoplights most definitely working. I like nice sidewalks and clean streets. I was very happy to know I was paying for the poop patrol in San Francisco, which wasn't doing a very good job. But there's a point where this is getting ridiculous, and $15 billion for an industry that's going to die anyway, that could get bailed out by the industry that actually needs it the most. Yeah, that's a thing we can get pissed for. So now Hollywood's essential, and they get the theaters bailed out. These are millionaires and billionaires. The millionaires and the billionaires. And of course I have a resentment. I'm human. So I've watched the person that's the most important to me in my life go through the ringer with losing her business. losing her dad. And, you know, I hopefully she's not listening right now, but, you know, I think her dad would still be here if it wasn't for the coof and if he was able to go into his hospital visits regularly. So there's that. The Good Girls, I believe, was the show that was allowed to set up outside that young woman's restaurant, the Pineapple Lounge or whatever. And at least one of the actresses had the good grace to feel bad about it and call out her own production, which I appreciate. And I don't blame Hollywood for working. It's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. I walked into a Target yesterday. It was packed full of people, utterly packed, nuts to butts. It's stupid. There's no reason why salons can't be open 50% capacity right now. None. It's not going to change anything. Adam, the Last Starfire, welcome to the proto-molecule level. Welcome. Welcome. That was quick applause. It was quick applause. And Andre Fernandez for 100 Argentinian dollars. Let's face it, Disney hit a home run. Didn't expect it, but the normies are going crazy, without a doubt. Even I have some hopes, but let's wait. Going to be 3/4 of a year to see if they take the righteous path. It's going to be years until we see them take the righteous path. So are you willing to join them on this ride? Are you on board for a good 5-year run that could end in the rise of the First Order? And how are you going to feel about it? Are you going to feel differently in 5 years? And this is just a question at this point. That's all it is. It's not an accusation. I'm not saying sucker. I mean, we're just talking about a freaking entertainment franchise here. And if you got nothing better to do, if you want to watch this show and you're invested, fine. I'm just, be prepared for possible major disappointment to the Game of Thrones season 8 level. If you see like Thrawn get defeated and then there's a stinger of the Palpatine clone and the Snoke clones at the end of the episode after everything's culminated and you're just like, what? Yeah. That's what we should all be ready for, but they hit a home run without it. I mean, like, no doubt. Look at how I did a live stream with Doomcock on Sunday. Look at how happy he was. He was stoked. And this is the man who coined the term hypnosis. So, I mean, that's what it is. And there's nothing wrong with having a little hypnosis. That's why we're fans. You know what? Tobey Maguire being attached to Spider-Man 3 has me excited like hell. I can't wait to see Doctor Strange directed by Sam Raimi. I cannot wait. I think that movie's going to kick ass. I am really excited for the James Gunn, The Suicide Squad. I think that movie is going to be fucking dope. That's the movie I'm looking the most forward to. And I'm a little, you know what? The Snyder Cut hype, I'm a little hyped about the Snyder Cut. I am. It could be total garbage. But I want it to succeed so bad now because it's a fan movement. So I'm probably going to be a lot easier on it. Java Bean, yes, I got the Mego Tom Baker. Did you? I announced it. I don't know if you can see it. I think you can see it. Hang on. Right there. Right there. It's on the walls of wonder. Thanks, buddy. It's going to be in the next Toxic Mailbag. So I'm going to put that in there. You guys sent me some. Oh, dude, you guys like this? 42nd anniversary. And this is colored vinyl. And it's Restaurant and Hitchhiker. It's remastered. You guys I love you guys. You're crazy. You're crazy. Java Bean. Love you, mate. And Merry Christmas to you. And hopefully you can travel down there in Australia. Max Rottenstein for $2. What best is Kathleen Kennedy, Sarlacc or Rancor? Sarlacc. I think she's straight up Sarlacc. I think she's slowly digesting everyone. She's safe. She's safe. I mean, there's two schools of thought, I guess. You can say that I believe that she has the Bob's balls, like each pair in a top desk drawer, and she like plays with them. Or you could say that she's a figurehead now, and Jon Favreau's running everything, and they're making her watch Jon Favreau repair her mess. Or I think it's a little bit of both. I think there's factions, there's camps. These people are human beings. They're competitive. They have massive, massive egos. And Kathleen Kennedy's got a lot of cred in Hollywood. She is anointed by Steven Spielberg. That's royalty. You're like a goddess emperor if you're anointed by Steven Spielberg. Look at Jar Jar Abrams. A complete hack is looked at as a top tier director. Are you kidding me? Zack Snyder is a million times better than J.J. Abrams. I mean, it's not even close. Zack Snyder has made films that are in my all-time favorite. Jar Jar Abrams has made a TV show that I thought was mildly entertaining. That was about it. Brian Niedifer. Is it Niedenfire? Niedifer. I'm sorry if I screwed that up. $9.99. Thank you. Was watching Super Metroid, so being a nerd, was wondering who was better armor, Samus or Guyver. Oh, Guyver. Hail Fandom Menace. Rest in peace, Doctor Who. Dr. Karen. Thank you. Only because the Guyver is the one I know. That's the one I know. I don't know if it's really better or not. I just am not familiar with the Samus or the is it Seamus or Samus? I'm sorry. I'm not super familiar with Super Metroid, but the Guyver I know. Andre Fernandez for 50 Argentinian dollars. Also, is clear that they hear the Fandom Menace and they really gonna see how they break the internet with Luke. But my hope is not there yet. Exactly. I mean, are we going to get a Luke Skywalker show? Maybe. I heard a rumor. Why not? Why the hell not? You just saw millions of people screaming. This Mandalorian episode, I guarantee you people are watching that last 10 minutes over and over. I watched it again, and I wasn't even moved by the scene, and I watched it again at the gym. So people are watching that scene over and over and over again. This, I guarantee you this episode's got 10 million views. It's going to have 10, 20 million views. It's going to be probably the most watched original television show episode of streaming maybe ever, because it's so young. And it will be watched again and again until the Book of Boba Fett comes out. So we got the Book of Boba Fett, then Mandalorian season 3, and then whatever, maybe I don't know what comes next after that, to be honest with you. But and they're going to probably invent some more shows. But a Luke Skywalker show, why not? I can't believe they're not making a Darth Vader show. That would be the easiest thing to make, because, I mean, you wouldn't need Hayden Christensen. You would just need a tall actor. And what I would do, James Earl Jones isn't young. I hope he lives 1,000 years. But I would find a way to, and maybe he's already done this, where there's like some formula where you have him, work about 3 or 4 days and say, there's like a formula of words he can say to where you can use his voice forever. There's probably something they can do algorithmically to work that out. And that would be cool. A Darth Vader show I would watch. I would watch him just laying waste to the galaxy. But Disney would probably give him like a female assistant or something. It'd be terrible. Second thought, not the best book of The Expanse, but good. Black Tiger 001 for $2. I think, Leviathan Wakes is the best book. I agree with you. But the fifth is the second best book. Nemesis Games, it's my favorite because you're inside of the entire crew's head. You're inside of Alex's head, Naomi's head, everyone's head, Amos's head. And it's the Empire Strikes Back of The Expanse. Captain J. Graybird, thank you for the 5 Canadian pesos. I appreciate the donation to the show. Thank you very much. By the way, big announcement on the real BB&C tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific time. I believe that is 6 p.m. British Standard Time. Is that how you say it? Az and I are going to announce our nuptials. No, we're not. We have a big announcement. Big announcement. As I told Jeremy, by the way, just so you know, I told Jeremy, he approves. And I told my wife, who mostly approves. It's going to be something else. Oh, my phone's dead. I don't know if anybody's trying to call me right now. My phone's dead. How do I say this? It's SP4NQD, but it's probably supposed to say something else. Spanod or something. For $10, check out Shamook's deep fake of the Luke scene. Oh, I saw it. It ain't perfect, but it looks phenomenally better than the CGI, and it only took a weekend. Not sure why Hollywood still can't embrace this technology. Script Doctor and I discussed this on Midnight's Edge, and I think he called it. It's licensing. It's all licensing. And Favreau mentioned it in this article here. I can bring up the article where he mentions it directly. By the way, Eric, are you able? Nobody's able to post links in the damn chat still. So YouTube is there's something going on with YouTube, folks. Again, they made some big changes, and our mods are unable to post links in the chat, so we can't cross promote, which really sucks because I have 2 other channels. So please, if you are not subscribed here, please, if you're out there, we have a lot of people who watch these who aren't subscribed. Hopefully, in the words of Jeremy from the Quartering, today is the day I earned your subscription, and I would appreciate that. I also have 2 other channels. I have Nerdrotic Live, where all the live streams go after they're done. I also do some special live streams over there, including my Star Trek Discovery review, which is going to be really late, which is going to be tomorrow night at like 9 p.m. Pacific time. I also have Nerdrotic Daily, which are little clips from these live streams. That channel is co-produced by my 50-50 partner on that channel, Perry Chan. Perry Chan is the clip master. He is the Terry Gilliam of the Phantom Menace, of Friday Night Tights, and of YouTube. He is. I'm very happy to have him on board. But look, oh, good. The links are back. That's good. I see a link. I'm very happy about that. Let's see if they can get them real-time views fixed. That'd be helpful too. Disney won. Kathleen Kennedy won. All has been forgiven, and now Disney's know they can screw over fans, and all they need is the right member berry. Congrats. Finbar Hooley for $5. You practically, okay, that was way more to the point, and I appreciate a man who does not, well, I'm assuming you're a man, I'm sorry, a person who does not F around, and you're not wrong. So basically what I'm saying, and I'm trying to say this in the kindest way possible, because again, I don't want people to feel bad for feeling joy. I can't do that. I can't knock you for like being happy for a moment, especially this year. Okay. But back to my other thought. John Favreau mentioned that they used the CGI that they had on hand, which he wouldn't have said if he was acknowledging it looked like shit. And he's like, that's what we had on hand. And reading between the lines, he was saying we could have done better, but that's what we had on hand. Does that make it okay? No, it's a $10 million show. Make it look better. Maybe they ran out of time. But did it matter to most people? No. Didn't matter at all. So Finbar Hooley, your super chat is correct. And what I'm going to try to get across in my video is I'm not on board. I unfortunately was not moved by the scene. If you were moved by the scene, I mean, honestly, that's good because you didn't allow The Last Jedi to ruin your enjoyment of other things. I did, so it's probably a character flaw. And I want the fandom to be together and enjoy moments of happiness. You know, if Brian Young had any class, which he doesn't, he would have said, hey, however I feel about the Phantom Menace, it was a moment that a lot of people enjoyed together who were Fandom menace or not fandom menace. That's why I like the people who use that hashtag at all, because they understand nuance, real nuance, the humankind, where people can enjoy a moment while they're not signing off on something, or people can want the spirit of something to remain alive while not agreeing on every specific issue, right? But the big but here is, Finbar, I agree with you. I think what happened on Friday was a genuine happy moment that Disney will use to their advantage, and they're going to feel like they have a mandate now. And if they feel like they have a mandate, they have no reason to change anything. And I think there is an argument to be made that that's going to be their path. But I think what they're going to do is actually probably be smart about it and not do anything right away, because they don't have to. Because that moment on Friday bought them all kinds of goodwill and all kinds of time. And time will allow them to forge ahead without erasing a damn thing. Now, people will say, why did they put up that Ahsoka logo with the World Between Worlds? I don't know if that's the World Between Worlds. Do we know that for sure? And it might be related to her return, if it is. And they might use it for a plot point for her series and for Thrawn, but not for the overall thing. But they could. They absolutely could. It could happen. But Brian Young still works at StarWars.com. Pablo Hidalgo still works for Star Wars. Kathleen Kennedy is still in charge. So I defer to my good friend Doomcock's coined term, hypnosis. I can enjoy this, or people can enjoy the scene without having hypnosis, and it depends on how far it goes. But I think, yes, Finbar, a lot of people are back on board. They're full on back on board. Without a doubt. Albatross flight for $5. At this rate, they should just leave Luke alone. They've spent so much time trying to tear him down. Now they're trying to fix him up. It just feels pointless. It does, but that reaction is going to make them try it some more. And that's where, again, and that's where we fans, I will use a we and I statements on this. This is where we can be our own worst enemy. For example, Spider-Man under Dan Slott was shit. Absolute shit. You know what? I contributed to that. I sold his books. I bought his books. I tried to make excuses for his books when I really wasn't enjoying them. And then there was a point, it's like, I'm not enjoying this anymore. And I was actually honest to my clients, and the Spider-Man sales went down and it cost me money, but I couldn't lie. But for a long time, I was in denial about how fucking bad Spider-Man was under Dan Slott. And I made him a lot of money. I did, because I had my hypnosis for Spider-Man, and I was my own worst enemy, because it ended up really destroying the character long run. I mean, it was bad enough what One More Day did. And by the way, One More Day, if you're not aware, is a storyline where essentially Peter Parker makes a deal with the devil to save Aunt May's life, and he had to give up his relationship with Mary Jane. It was the dumbest fucking storyline of all time. And it broke Spider-Man. Broke. The character still sold. He still muddled along, but Spider-Man stopped being the biggest character in Marvel after that. And a lot of longtime Spider-Man fans just were done. But then it got worse. Dan Slott's run was just shit for a long time, and they stuck with him, and they stuck with him. And I contributed to that by while I was still buying the books. Nothing changes unless we stop buying it. So we're a year away from the fall of Skywalker, and Disney, with a lot of people, has made things all better. Not everyone. I know not everyone. Maybe not everyone in here. But a lot of normies are back. I'm sorry, but now Disney has a strategy to make the woke agenda work. people have forgotten what a feint is. The dagger is in the other hand. Finbar Hooley, you're correct. We're going to put Finbar in the skeptical camp. I am in the skeptical camp. I think the only progress made here, Finbar, with me anyway, is I'm willing to even pay attention at this point. Because, I mean, like, my attitude before was, go ahead, do whatever you want. You know what? Bring Luke back and have him bathe in titty milk. I don't care. But that scene it made enough people happy to hope maybe they're going to turn it around. But again, it was a little simple thing. Being close to my age, Gary, remember Space 1999, Christian Del Orme for 5 Canadian pesos? Absolutely. I watched it as a youngster and it tripped me out. It kind of freaked me out. I liked stuff that freaked me out, though. Brian Lewandowski for $10. And Christian, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well in Canada. Finishing The Expanse Season 4, great show. Got my copy of Babylon 5, and I'm excited. Mandalorian is nothing but fluff bait for D+ and boring. Rooting for the bad guys mostly since there are no stakes, says Brian Lewandowski for $10. Nope, there's not a lot of stakes, and the bad guy even ended up being a disappointment. You know, I burned through Season 1 again, and Werner Herzog is fucking great. Why did they get rid of him? That should, and I know they mentioned it. Red Letter Media mentioned that too. Dude, that was the best bad guy with the German accent, and he was properly, bad. I love his little sit down, and he's talking to the Mandalorian about, we had the order in the galaxy, the Empire. That was good. I don't know why they got rid of that. The Great Conjunction has come, says Madness Production for $5. Yeah, I missed it. I was in here recording a video. But I'll watch. Jack Beers caught it on video, and he's pretty close to me, so I'll take a look at this video, and I'll feel like I watched it here. Finbar, thank you for the $5. So now that Disney has figured out how to go full woke and be forgiven, is there a member Barry Doctor Who could pull out the same way? For $5, Finbar Hooley. Well, let's talk about that for a second, shall we? And then we're going to talk about the Hollywood bailout afterwards. So I'm going to pull up an article just to be a background here. All right. This works. Okay. So the man asks, so now that Disney has figured out how to go full woke and be forgiven, is there a member Barry Doctor Who could pull out the same way for $5? Yes, there is. But before we get to that, I am fully aware that there are multiple camps when it comes to The Mandalorian. I am fully aware that a lot of people enjoyed it. So what I would say, not that anybody's asking my advice, is cautiously observe. Don't dive in full on. I don't think a subscription to Disney Plus helps or hurts much. It's a few bucks. And it's up to you. But know that going in, that if you fully support it now, it's too soon. It's way too soon to fully support this. And there's a very good chance you're going to bring back, if it ever left. I don't know. I don't think it ever has. Honestly, I'm willing to have my mind changed on this. I know Doomcock's logic is, hey, we got to show them when they do something good, we got to treat them like a puppy, like good boy. And I agree with that when it comes to Jon Favreau stuff. But just be skeptical. That's all. And don't dive in full bore. Otherwise, you're going to bring all of it back. It's all going to come back. And here's why I think so. I talked to my Doctor Who insider. And while I do have a rumor, another pretty good one to run with probably post holidays, he did tell me what the sentiment is in entertainment right now. And it really goes against what we saw with the return of Luke Skywalker. The sentiment in entertainment is woke is back, baby. Woke is back. And look for Doctor Who Series 13 to be so much worse. So much worse. These, like I said in my video, that's why I don't think I pulled any punches in my video. But in my video, I pretty much tried to set you up that these people don't give a fuck what you think. They don't like you as fans. They don't want you as fans. Like Yellow Flash says, their attitudes are, you good enough to be our fan? And if the show fails, well, at least we had the moral high ground. That's their entire attitude. Now they're going to they're going to acknowledge that they're having problems, and their attitude is like young Mr. Young's there. They think you're a bunch of dumbasses. They think I'm a dumbass. They think we're all a bunch of dumbasses. So we'll trick the dumbasses with some little member berries to bring them back. So to answer your question, yes, Finbar Hooley. Yes, as far as I know. And I mean, that's why I promise I'm not going to say I told you so when Disney introduces the First Order or shows a Snoke clone or something like that. I won't. I'm not that kind of person. I don't want it to happen. And I don't think it will happen right away. Disney knows better. So Finbar, like I said before, they kicked the can down the road. They just bought themselves 5 or 6 years of not having to worry about any of this shit. And they don't have to be in a hurry to introduce the Disney trilogy stuff. As far as the woke stuff, it depends on your definition of woke and intersectional feminism and all that. There's a little bit of it creeping in season 2, but it wasn't a lot. Okay. But there was like the Boba Fett scene with, God damn it, Sasha Banks. People were trying to explain that away. It's a horrible scene to have in that episode. And it's only because of that ending stinger. So you wanted to have this Conan-like ending stinger where Boba Fett takes the throne as the big badass who just got flipped by a pop singer. She's a pop singer, right? Sasha Banks. I mean, I have no idea who she is. No, she was a wrestler, right? Was she a wrestler in the ladies wrestling? Big bad Boba Fett got flipped by Sasha Banks. That ain't big bad Boba Fett. Now, if you want to do that scene somewhere else in another episode where they fight to a draw with their jetpacks, fine. But in the episode, you're trying to establish his show. You did that. It was unnecessary. It was absolutely unnecessary. It was an unnecessary scene, really. They could have just, Doomcock and I talked about it. They could have just shouted at each other. If it was Gina Carano, sure, because she's bigger than Boba Fett. By the way, Boba Fett shrunk a foot. And another thing, I hope Disney goes back and changes this. Jeremy Bulloch passed away, the real Boba Fett, a few days ago. You couldn't put R.I.P. Jeremy Bulloch at the end? Come on, dude. Especially when you announced the Boba Fett show. It's not like they weren't aware. Thank you, Madness Productions, talking about the Great Conjunction. It was cool looking. I had when I first saw, I think it was Saturn and Jupiter were close together, and it looked freaking badass here. And I could actually see the stars in San Diego because you can't see them in San Francisco. Non-stick pansexual for $5. Disney going all in on the TV shows lets me know that they haven't learned their lesson. I will say that seeing deepfake Luke killing droids was just okay. And that's where I was with it. But I should have been like cheering with everybody else. And non-stick, you should have too. But Disney destroyed Luke. They destroyed Luke, and they still. So I ran an experiment. I'll see if I can run it here. I think I can. Give me a moment here. Let's go to media source. First, we'll shut that off. We'll go to media source. I got to thank Tom for Midnight's Edge for sending me this. Where is it? There it is. So we got reverse and forward. So we're going to go forward. All right, we got that one. And then we got media source. We're going to go reverse. So I'm going to show you two clips, right? One forward and one reverse. And you're going to see, let me know if you can see the difference. I'm just getting this set up real quick. I'm just going to see. That's the reverse clip. Okay. I don't know how this is going to come in, so I'm going to blink it real quick. Sorry about that. I thought I had it fixed, and I didn't. So that was reverse. There we go. Dude, what the hell? Why aren't you changing? This better be a really good point I'm going to make for it to take this fucking long. Sorry. There we go. All right. That's the forward version. This is the reverse version, showing that you can't put the soy milk back in the titty because even when you run it backwards, it still looks like the soy milk's coming out in his bottle. So that's the whole point. I think there's something poignant there, but you can't put the soy milk back in the titty. It doesn't take away from your moment, though. It doesn't take away from your moment. Don't let people take away from your moment. Again, I'm going to do a full review of The Mandalorian. I thought season 1 was a 7.5 to 8 out of 10 as far as just being entertaining. It wasn't woke in any way, shape, or form. Some episodes were really good. Some were not. Some moments were great. Some stuff didn't make sense. The costuming was great. The effects were great. It really looked like George Lucas's Star Wars from the 70s. Season 2 did a lot of the same. I thought the second episode, I thought some of the episodes were useless, and season 2 was about great moments and those moments were better than moments in season 1. But as far as the character of the Mandalorian, it was about him in season 1, and season 2 was not about him. So I think it's a pretty accurate thing to say that the Mandalorian is Iron Man 1, Mandalorian season 2 is Iron Man 2, except with a, freaking bitchin' moment at the end, Ace Mr. Freeze for $4.99. What's up? Hale, broke up with my girlfriend last week. I didn't know you had a girlfriend. Didn't we just talk about you being a player? She has a body like 7 or 9, but emotional. But the emotional quote of Michael Burnham. Thanks for the distractions. Yeah. Well, wait a minute. Are you saying 7 of 9 was more emotional than Michael Burnham? I guess she was. Well, she had more of emotional range than Michael Burnham. Was she crying all the time? I see, Ace, you're going to be okay, buddy. I don't think you got anything to worry about. Another fish in the sea, all the fish in the sea. What? Don't listen to me. I'm a serial monogamist. I've been married for 18 years. And then I was married for 7 before that. And I had a brief period of single, like as a sober adult. Now, when I was a teenager and I was getting high, forget about it. But as a sober adult, I had a little fun. I did, but not as much as you will. Ace, you're going to be okay. 200-watt studio for $2. That's relationship advice from Nerdrotic, by the way. Dial 555. Lock it down. Lock it down. Less than 24 hours to The Expanse episode 4. Oh my God, that's right. It's good that The Mandalorian's over now so people can talk about The Expanse. Now they're going to be talking about Luke Skywalker for like a week, but then they could talk about The Expanse. And the problem with The Expanse is they really blew it with season 4, and it didn't get the audience that Amazon wanted. And there's just not a huge following for the show. There's a very rabid following for the show, but it's very small. Part of the reason it was small is they didn't want to work with me or Doomcock with anything, really. I mean, we've been a couple of the biggest supporters of the show. I mean, other people have jumped, like Alt Shift X jumped on late, and other people have jumped on late, but like Doomcock and I have been there from the beginning practically. And not that I needed anything from them other than to be weekly. That's all I needed. But they've never, ever, the only thing I got from the show was shade from the authors. And, but I still love the show, and they've never done anything bad to the fans. They've never, the worst thing that's happened is the Cass Anvar getting Me Too'd. And I still don't know what he got Me Too'd for, but yeah, I can't wait for episode 4, and I'm glad they're weekly. I just wish they would have done it last season. I'd let Gina Carano break me in half, says Spat. Okay. You got to tell me how to say your name. It's SP4NQD. So there's probably something clever there that I'm completely missing. If I was single, I would let Gina Carano break me in half. I would. Or use me as a punching bag or something. Gary Christensen. That's a great first name there. And you spell it right with one R. Otherwise, it's Gary for $10. Dear Nerdrotic, I thought you were going to be on the episode of Unsafe Space, but I can't find it on either of your channels. Does it exist, or am I having one of those Mandela effects, or i.e. Bernstein Bears? No, Gary, you are not. You are not. I was supposed to be on Unsafe Space, and they had technical difficulties, so we rescheduled it for the 6th of January at 1 p.m. So I will be on Unsafe Space with Carrie Smith on the 6th of January at 1 p.m. We had a computer crash, I believe, so we couldn't continue with it, unfortunately. But now Carrie's awesome. I can't wait to be on Unsafe Space in next week. Yeah. Darth Nugget for $5. The CCP bought Star Wars fans. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing we can't forget, that Disney is very, very cozy with the CCP that doesn't like Star Wars very much. Darth Nugget. Keeper of the Tracking for 2 Canadian pesos. Your Doctor Who video was on the spot. Love it. Oh, thank you. I'm glad somebody won. Thank you, Keeper of the Tracking. I appreciate it. Yeah, I couldn't believe. The thing is, both those things kind of went under the radar because nobody gives a fuck anymore, and I'm it. But yeah, I had to say my piece. I know everybody's talking about Luke Skywalker, and I'll eventually get around to it. But one of the things I'm going to be doing a little different this week for you is usually people lighten up on the content around the holidays. The algorithm is so effed, I don't even care. So I'm going to do something very unusual for my channel. I'm going to release multiple videos. So you're going to get the Nerdrotic daily stuff, but you're also going to get probably some lower tier stuff on my channel, including the Luke Skywalker. What you heard here, I'm putting into a video, adding a little bit more context, but not much. Max Santiago for $2. The Phantom Menace is done. All it was a crumb. Wow. A crumb of the Luke Skywalker. Yeah. I think, Max, time will tell. I understand your sentiment. Was it just people enjoying a single moment? while understanding that they're never going to, like, Jeremy said and Doomcock both said that they like the moment, but they're not on board with Disney Star Wars. But I think aside from Doomcock and Jeremy, I think there's a lot of people who are back on board fully, completely. And whether they're saying it or not, right now, Max, it's very popular to be back on board. That's the popular opinion. To not be back on board is going against the popular opinion right now. The majority of the fandom is back on board. And I mean, they're back. Whether they're admitting it or not right now, that's up to the individual, but they're back. I'm not back. They are Disney Star Wars. That was Disney Luke Skywalker. And they need to show me a lot more before I'll even think about coming back. But I will cover it as pop culture. I like the show because of Gina Carano. I will watch a Gina Carano show. And you have to admit, it is progress for Disney to not fire Gina Carano for what she said and who she's following on Twitter. Because they probably would have a couple of years ago, but they're not now. So at least I can't say it shows consistency. Maybe they don't want to fire Gina Carano. I will say if there was a guy working for Disney and he followed the same people that Gina's following and he said the same stuff, I don't know if he would still have his job. You would have to convince me. I think Gina is wildly popular, and to fire her would fuck Disney. A lot of people would be mad, but we'll see. But if anybody fully went on board, said, okay, all is forgiven with Star Wars because of that Luke scene, that was a crumb. You're not wrong. Long time ago, long time no here, Gary. What do you think of the new Discworld series, The Watch, coming out next month? Robert Hornbrook for $5. A long time, my friend. Not much at all. I'm not that familiar with Discworld, and what I am familiar with, I know The Watch isn't, including the author's daughter coming out against it. On the whole, 15B isn't that much. Says Crispy Critters for $2. On the whole, 15 billion isn't that much. Out of $1 trillion? No. Crispy Critters, $1 is too much of tax money. We can't look at it like that. I'm sorry. I completely disagree. 15 billion is a lot of money, is a lot of fucking money. 15 billion, that's 15 billion that Disney could have come up with, and Apple and all the entertainment companies that collectively, like Hollywood, we don't need movie theaters. It's not essential to me. And if you want to get down to actual dollars and cents, a lot of them are franchise owned, and that sucks. And that's like regular folk. But as far as they're employing people, they employ part-time jobs. Part-time. There's very few full-time jobs in movie theaters. Now, should they pay better? Sure. But should those be prioritized over small business, which needs the money more? Theaters are going to die anyway. It's a bad bet, and it's not one the public should be taking because it's pretend. It's fucking pretend, and it's a theater. And that's what this essential shit sucks, because it starts pitting some businesses against each other. I want everybody to keep their job, but let's be real. Theater employees, there's none waiting around for their theater job to come back unless they're a manager, unless they're a full-time employee making above $40,000 a year. Otherwise, they have moved on. And 15 billion isn't going to be enough to save them. And it's a waste of $15 billion. And I don't know if anybody around my age knows what inflation looks like, because you lived through the 70s. I don't think there's a generation after us that really knows what that looks like. And I'm not saying the 70s were the Depression, but they were bad. They were very, very bad. And we're headed right for the 70s, if not worse. And hyperinflation and I mean, I sat in lines to wait for gas, and I mean for hours. 3, 4, 5 hours. You wait in line to fill up your car because there was a gas shortage. And that was just a piece of it. There was a reason, they filmed The Joker in like 1980s New York. There's a reason 1980s New York looked like a hellhole, because it was. That's because the economy was shit for a long time. And cities were allowed to degrade, and that which might happen again. And they became just centers for crime, like horrific crime. Like what we see now is nothing compared to, you guys all saw the rioting and stuff. That was happening on a smaller level, like all the time. There were gangs that, ran entire, I forgot what's the boroughs and stuff, and entire fucking neighborhoods where cops, there's still places like that cops don't go, but it was much worse in the 70s and 80s. San Diego was a bad place to live. Like beautiful, sunny San Diego. The downtown was horrific and dangerous. Bear Nerd Fun, thanks for the popcorn for $1.49. I appreciate it. All right, so let's go. Speaking of that bailout, let's go take a look. Let's take a look. Boop, boop, boop. All right. There we go. Oh, I lost my stars. Here, let's do this one. At least we'll have the blurry background. Well, then I lose my chat. I don't want to do that. Fine. Oh, we don't need that either. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Lawmakers reach deal on COOF relief. I could probably say COVID-19, but I just am saying COOF for so long. That includes $15 billion for movie theaters, live venues. Live venues is fine. I think they're going to last. People are going to want to go out and fucking party once we can get back together again. I know I'm going to want to. But they got their bailout. And I will repeat again, Hollywood had plenty of money to bail out their movie theaters. And this is just what we know about. Senate and House leaders announced an agreement on nearly $900 billion COOF relief package on Sunday, and this is the first one of many. That includes specific aid to struggling independent movie theaters and live entertainment venues. Now, this is the one that was introduced months ago. They're going to need another one in 6 months, and then another one 6 months later. So we say it's only $15 billion, but this can turn into $45 to $50 billion by the end of next year to bail out something that's going to go out of business. I'm sorry. This whole situation sucks. I didn't create it. You didn't create it. We know who did. Biggest transfer of wealth in our history. Biggest transfer of wealth. Small business is being decimated, and that was the ultimate freedom in America. It was the backbone in America, entrepreneurship, and it kept a lot of things in check that that I'm not going to say you don't understand. That a lot of people don't understand. That small business functioned on a lot of levels in our country that a lot of people don't think about, including a lot of our freedoms. You get rid of a lot of small business, that paves the way for mega corporations and a lot less freedoms. Senate and House leaders announced blah, blah, blah. The package allocates $15 billion for theaters and other cultural institutions following months in which artists and entertainment industry trade groups expressed urgency for some kind of targeted relief, proposing legislation called the Save Our Stages Act. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said that the aid was included in the final agreement. The Save Our Stages would be targeted to small and medium-sized theaters and venues with 50 employees or less, and to those who lost at least 25% in revenue. It size theaters and venues with 500 employees or less, and to those that have lost at least 25% revenue. It applies to multiple aspects of live and theatrical businesses, including venue operations, promoters, producers, performing arts organizations, museum operators, and talent. Oh yeah, here's the one. Talent representatives. Agents. Got to bail out. Fucking agents. Oh, look at this. Can you see what's on the right there, folks? California. Very likely that we're going to extend the stay-at-home order. But you got $600, folks. So you're saved. You're absolutely saved with your $600. It's a fucking joke. It's a fucking slap in the face. I almost wanted to do a video. It's like, hey, honey, we got $600. Let's rebuild your salon. We can do it. Honestly, I'd rather the money went to somebody else who needed it. I don't need it. I'll probably just donate mine or something. If I get it at all. I didn't get one last time. So the package, to Save Our Stages, the text of the legislation has not yet been released. Well, probably because it hasn't been fucking printed. I mean, it's not like we read bills before we have them signed or anything like that. This is such a freaking joke. We've got to get rid of lifetime fucking politicians on both sides. Both sides. Term limits on fucking everything. The House is expected to vote on the bill on Monday, and the Senate will follow not too long after that. Pelosi and Schumer also said that the relief bill will include provisions so that a wider scope of newspapers, TV stations, and radio stations will be eligible for Paycheck Protection Program loans. The relief is aimed at smaller businesses, but a number of media outlets did not qualify because they are part of a larger media companies. The bill is expected to include language that provides such loans to individual media outlets, but not their parent companies. I don't want big parent companies getting any of this fucking money. They've made enough. God, I can't believe I just want to work. How about you let people just go to work? The Paycheck Protection Program, PPP, meanwhile, will be replenished with an additional $2.84 billion for the first and second loans, which will be forgivable if receipts meet a set of requirements for how much money is spent. Dozens of producers, law firms, publicity shops, post-production houses, and other entertainment firms received loans in the first round last spring. In addition to the Save Our Stages Act funding for vaccine distribution, other elements of the relief package include, are they going to, is it a distribution of the vaccine for the non-mutated virus, or is this one going to be for the mutate? Maybe the vaccine will mutate with the virus. You think that'll happen? Or maybe we'll just, because the conjunction will mutate. We can be heroes just for one day. Direct payments up to $600. Oh, wow. Per person will be provided an amount. A thought makes that in an hour. Just saying. An amount That is about half the size of payments sent out earlier this year. Do you want to know why it's half the fucking size? Let me tell you why it's half the fucking size. And this message goes to, because I know a bunch of Antifa people out there are listening to me right now. All the assholes who were burning shit down. I saw a bunch of you screaming for free money from the government. A lot of the communists on Twitter, unabashed communists on Twitter, armchair communists, Twitter communists, whatever the fuck they are, were begging for fucking money. Well, the reason you're going to get a stimulus check next year for $300 is because of your dumbass, because your dumbass was doing everything the billionaires wanted you to do. You were good little useful idiots, and you made Jeff Bezos so much fucking money and all the big tech so much fucking money. You did exactly what they wanted you to do. Good little minion. And then the reason I brought that up is because they were threatening another riot. And I'm like, oh yeah, go do another one. And that guarantees that you get a $300 stimulus check in 6 months while we're still fucking locked down and more small businesses decimated. Way to go. Rent payment assistant. The legislation set aside $25 billion for families to help pay rent and extend a moratorium on evictions. Why do you have to pay for a moratorium on evictions? Is that a way to pay yourself? I don't know. If you're a landlord, I certainly, that's gotta be a tough situation, but you also got to, think about your tenants. I can't believe it's so weird to have a landlord now. I haven't had a landlord since, well, I rented a room when I lived in LA, but I mean, a legit landlord, I haven't had one since 95. So yeah, I haven't sold my house yet, but I'm renting a house and I'm also paying my mom's rent. And my poor mother, she's in better shape. She's in much better shape because we got her in a better facility, and that's thanks to you guys. So thank you very much. We got her in a better facility, and she's getting very healthy now, and I'm very happy about that. But yeah, poor thing's been locked up. She's really elderly. She's in her 80s. So yeah, I understand that part. Unemployment insurance, sure. You're forcing people to shut down. You got to pay for that. Broadband access provides $7 billion to increase broadband access. The money includes assistance to help low-income and unemployed workers pay for internet service. Congress is expected to vote on what? What? No. I'm okay. I'm fine with the low-income people getting internet. That's not what I'm against. Google has made $40 billion. Amazon has made $100 billion. Where are our private companies? You want more people to have internet, and that would benefit you. It would benefit Amazon a lot for everybody to have internet. Pay for some fucking internet. Why don't you get some fiber optic into some low-income neighborhoods? I'm all for Jeff Bezos paying for that. You want to show me how down you are with the cause and everything? Why don't you pay for some of that? Yep, but yeah, they got their bailout, and the movie theaters aren't gonna survive. It's gonna be a waste of time for pretend. Oh, hey, I got some other stuff here. Wait. We got a George R. Martin update, ladies and gentlemen. George is having a little trouble. George says there is nothing to writing. All you do is sit down at a typewriter and bleed. He's stressed. He's stressed because he's not going to finish The Winds of Winter. Forget about The Dream of Spring. This tells me everything I need to know. He can't finish the book. He can't finish the book. He's only halfway through. He's years away. And what I imagine is happening right now is his publisher really needs him to finish that book because they've floated him a lot of fucking money and he needs to deliver. And it's well overdue. And publishing isn't like doing spectacular right now. So they could probably really use the fucking money. And I bet you there's a lot of things attached to this book. Bookstores could really use the bump. Could you imagine? This would be... There's no book series out there that's as big as Harry Potter was. I know you got your personal favorite, right? And you're waiting for your author to come out, but like this is going to be a big book when it comes out. Where the fuck is it? I don't know. I think it would be great for escapism. It'd be great to get off George's back. It would be great for the theory crafters out there who have been dying for this book to come out. You know, I mean, poor Preston Jacobs is never going to know the answer to Lemongate. I've been kind of getting into some Song of Ice and Fire theory crafting videos. And I'm really down with the Jon Snow is going to be the Night King thing. I think that's pretty accurate. I think Jon Snow is going to be the Night King, folks. Get back to the super chats there. I'll keep that up there. But George is, like, what else do you take away from this is like, he can't finish the book. Wow, this one's going to go down in history. Max Santiago, thank you again for the super chat. Robert Hornenbrook, thank you for the super chat. Crispy Critters, thank you for the super chat. And Bear Nerd Fun, thanks for the popcorn. Big Worm for $10. Luke showing up. My sons and I cheered, but shortly after I was pissed because I couldn't enjoy it because of The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. Same will happen in future Trek. F the evil mouse and Kurtzman. Long live and prosper. Live long and prosper. Long live and prosper. What the fuck is wrong with me? Big Worm. I'm glad your kids jumped up and down and cheered. One of the coolest Star Wars moments I've had in the last few years was watching my son watch the original trilogy for the first time. And his reaction to it, he was locked in from the go. So it shows you that this thing is timeless. The original, when you can impress a YouTube kid, basically a gamer kid, on first sitting, and he sat there and watched all three movies back to back in like an uncomfortable chair because he didn't want to move. And that was cool. And I was just observing him all day, watching him watch that, going, that's fucking cool. And yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer that they took that away from us because of feminism, because of Kathleen Kennedy, because she had nothing to contribute. So she felt like that's how she could contribute. Gary, is Hollywood going to get more woke now that they get 15 billion Merry Christmas? Robot Atlas for $5. I believe they were going to get more woke anyway because they believe that's what the public wants. Look at the NFL. They put that Vanderbilt's kickers, the female kicker who squibbed a kick. They put her jersey in the fucking Hall of Fame. Was it the College Hall of Fame? It had to be the College Hall of Fame. I mean, that's ridiculous. For one, there are women out there who could probably kick it more than 30 yards. As a matter of fact, I know there are. Couldn't they find one? I mean, my wife's cousins, both of them were top tier college female soccer players. So my wife's cousin is Allie Wagner, who does play-by-play for Fox. And she was on the gold medal team against China. She could probably, kick at least 50 yards, or she could back in the day when she was younger. And then her sister, Samantha Wagner, was the collegiate player of the year at Berkeley. So that's the Wagner stock. It's very good. I don't know if you guys are into women's soccer, But if you ever see Allie Wagner on Fox Sports 1, that's my wife's cousin. HG Gundam plays for $10. AT&T Warner Brothers have accepted that Wonder Woman 84 will be a loss leader for HBO Max. However, the people involved with the films are tossing fits as they are screwing the back end deals in the contracts. Tom Conkle was talking about that on Midnight's Edge, and Warner Brothers don't give a fuck. You just saw how Disney doesn't care about how they paid their authors for Star Wars books and Buffy books and stuff, residuals. Same thing's going to happen to anybody who gets post-production gets bonuses. All the bonuses are going to get screwed, and they're going to be able to hide it by saying, oh, we didn't make enough money. What they're going to do is probably keep the same threshold for the box office and try to apply that to streaming. Because I doubt Warner Brothers made that decision in 2 weeks? I don't think that was enough time to adjust like a couple of thousand people's contracts. And I'm just a layman, okay? I worked there for a couple of years. I didn't work for any contract movies. I edited some TV, and I wasn't even a full-time employee. I was a contract employee at Technicolor. Trenna is pronounced Tren, like Tren Guthridge, for $5. Have you seen Mind Melds? It's Shatner Nimoy interview each other. Very cool and really sweet. Well worth the watch. Merry Christmas, chat. I have not seen that, but I saw I've listened to the Spock and Q thing. The spoken word thing is great. It's fantastic. I'll check that out, Trenna. And I emailed you, and I'll get back to you because I need to pay her for yarn for a Todd Baker scarf. Douglas Nelson for $5. Talent can save franchises narratively. However, considering what Hollywood cesspool has done to the likes of Alan Dean Foster, why bother? Well, here's a question, and I'll relate it to Star Wars. How would you feel about Star Wars if Jon Favreau left? Because for this thing to work, that's why I want to tell people who are excited, be excited, enjoy your moment, but be cautious. Because so many things need to happen for what you want to happen. And you're projecting a lot on Disney that they have never said they're going to do. All right. They put up the Ahsoka logo. We don't know if that's World Between Worlds. Nobody said anything. It appears there's going to be one movie that will be moving forward, and we assume it's going to be the Rogue Squadron movie from Patty Jenkins, and that's going to take place after the Fall of Skywalker. Maybe. Everything else is a prequel except for maybe some Visionaries, which will probably have some Rey cartoons or sub. But what's to say Jon Favreau, sets the stage and leaves after a couple of years? Well, that changes everything. Because I think if he goes, what fucking molecule of faith? I have no faith in this. I have faith in Jon Favreau, and I like Gina Carano. That's it. I like Gina Carano. I have faith in Jon Favreau. There were moments I liked in The Mandalorian, like the Bill Burr stuff. I thought that was great. It was great. For me, that was like, that's my takeaway from the whole damn season was the Bill Burr. That was fucking badass. But as far as other stuff, as far as narratively in Hollywood, it remains to be seen. Disney remembered that they were in the business of maybe making people happy last Friday. Let's see if they remember that. But, it's really easy to get over Disney. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm like not a fan of this company at all. I fucking hate them. I've always hated them as a company. Always. And that's why when they bought Marvel, oh my God, I was just beside myself. I was so fucking pissed. I was like, no. Miss you, Gary. Where have all the good writers gone? Love your show as always. JC, thanks for the $5. Well, why did you miss me? Have I been gone? I guess I've been really consistent lately. It's because we had the death in the family. That threw us for a loop. Not going to lie. That was tough. That was tough to get over. It's tough to make videos when, you're mourning and stuff. I'm getting out of it now. My wife's nowhere close to getting out of it, and that's understandable. It was her dad. He and I were really tight. That was my buddy. So I haven't been in a great headspace. I'll be honest with you with that one. But, hopefully, but YouTube doesn't give a fuck. YouTube does not give a fuck. 247 shades for $5. Until we as Americans stop supporting sports ball, Hollywood, and the media machine, we will continue down the path toward difficult times. Yeah, nothing's going to change until a drastic portion of the audience stops. Where do we stop, though? 247 shades for $5? Because I enjoy this stuff. But I guess everybody's got their threshold, right? YouTube lost a lot of people. They purged a lot of people, and a lot of people left over the last 2 months. It's been pretty rough here. And there's two, Jaeger Bomb, Drake is 6, or Two Shadows, are Two Shadows. What the fuck? Because I was thinking of his other name. Sorry. Are two channels that were regulars here that they pop up again, but they have different channels because their channels were deleted for comments they made. And these are two guys who've been around here, these parts, for years. Never seen them, maybe they were salty, but so what? That YouTube is made on salty comments. So I don't know what this thing is becoming now. Yeah. Canadian Jedi Knight, welcome to the proto molecule level. Welcome to the memberships. If you become a member, there's certain levels. It helps support the channel. Thank you very much. You get once in a while access to early videos. You're going to get exclusive videos, and you also get a live stream, or an exclusive live stream where you can come in and we all chat together. They're really fun. They are a good time. They're Sundays at 10:30 in the morning. Stephen Yarnell for $4.99. Talent without training is nothing. Luke Skywalker, not to be confused with Jake. That's right. Eric Weinberg. Yes. Talent without training is nothing. Right, Disney? Right? Eric Weinberg, welcome to the proto molecule level. Thank you for supporting the channel. America's finest. America's finest. That's the cops, man. That's the cops. Got the shit beat out of me by America's finest one time. Wasn't very good. It didn't feel very good. Get Gary to 1,500 likes. Let's do this. Hail, Gary. Oh, hail. I'm at $14.99. I'm at $14.99. Can we get one more like? Maybe we can get one more like. And not yet. It's all right. Maybe I reached my threshold. Thanks, America's finest for 2. Oh, we got to 1502. Thank you. Luke had a much better grasp on Grogu's situation than Ahsoka, which demonstrates Luke's superior understanding of the Force as a Jedi Master. That's right. TK not at post for $10 because last time I checked, Ahsoka wasn't one. And Luke, I almost said Mark Hamill. Luke is. And he explained why it would be dangerous. For one, he's already being pursued. Grogu is already being pursued. And just because Moff Gideon said he got what he wanted, what are you going to believe him? Okay, I'll believe him. So, yeah, that was a dumb point. That we're talking about Brian Young's point. But Brian Young was just trying to fashion something to be anti-Phantom Menace because his mom didn't hug him. I don't know. Christian Delorme for 2 Canadian pesos. Hail, Gary. Do you like gladiator fighting? Yeah, I love it when Scraps rubs up and down my legs, too. And yes, I've seen a grown man naked. I have. Thank you, Christian. Mark C for $5. If Hollywood gets a bailout, they got it. I want their IPs driven to public domain. We should get something for our money. I agree. I agree. You give us a bailout, we get Star Wars or Star Trek, one of the two. And they go public domain and we treat them like the Green Bay Packers. So we hire somebody who kind of oversees it and you can buy stock in it, which would make the fucking IP worth a gazillion dollars because you can just buy individual stock into that IP. And then we can vote in people who contribute to that IP, creatively and vote them out. I think it'd be great. I think there needs to be a publicly owned IP. But I don't want it like collectivism, communist shit. I want there's some straight up capitalism and money involved. So we get investors and then you get some kickbacks, you get some dividends, just like the Green Bay Packers, which my late father-in-law owns stock in the Green Bay Packers. I wonder who gets the stock. Probably JT, his son. We love and support Gary and the Nerdrotic family. Thank you, America's Finest. I appreciate it for $2. Thank you. Halesburg for $5. I can't wait until you start watching Stargate SG-1. You're going to love it. Will you do some limited reaction vids? Yes. Halesburg for $5. I'm probably going to do, when it comes to Babylon 5, when we start that, I'm going to do immediate reaction vids like on my stories here on YouTube and on Instagram. And then Az and I are going to do a live stream. We'll figure out like whose channel. I don't think it really works to review a show on different channels. So like one review on my channel, one review on somebody else's channel. We've done that with Doomcock and I have done that, and it doesn't work. You got to keep the reviews on the same channel. So what I'll probably do is Az and I will agree, like we'll do Babylon 5 on one channel, and then we'll do the next show we're going to cover on the other channel. So whatever channel we agree, it's going to be the one we stay on because it just doesn't work. For some reason, people don't follow over, but it grows if it stays on one channel. That Nobody Guy for $5. You're working hard, man. Twice a day, dude. That's right. 2 live streams today. Here's one for the working man, woman, person out there. Hail. Thank you, That Nobody Guy, for $5. And tip of this coffee's not that old. I think it's from this morning. Tip of Vario coffee for the working woman and man out there. I hope this doesn't kill me. Coffee sits there all day. Oh my God. It's like crack. That Nobody Guy. Thank you again. Scottish Nerd. Thank you for the trees. Thank you for the pine trees for $1.49. I appreciate it. Mark with the C. What's up, Mark with the C? For $5. I watched The Mandalorian with my son. Dad, are you crying? Seeing the real Luke again brought me back to seeing Star Wars in 1977 with my dad. There's nothing bad about that. That is a fan moment. I don't care that Kathleen Kennedy brought you that at Disney Star Wars. I don't care if it was it's a fake Luke with the CGI face until he started talking. I want you to enjoy those moments when you get them, especially this year when you have had not a lot of moments, especially if you're with the family and stuff. It's okay to enjoy that moment, and we can criticize Disney later, So Kathleen Kennedy is Mrs. Favreau. Matt Deckard says for $2.99. Maybe we'll see how this plays out. We'll see how this plays out. I want you all to know that chances are your first impression is the right impression. We don't need to overthink this. Judge people by their actions, not their words. And if you judge Disney Star Wars by their actions, the First Order is coming, because they mentioned it twice in two episodes in a row. They mentioned it. I mean, and Jon Favreau, in my Disney video, I read you a quote from Jon Favreau who said, we're going to be building towards the First Order. It's not going to be the focus of the show, but it'll be there. So I know why Disney will not come out and say what their plan is. There's no reason for them to say that. That would lose them audience. Right now, they're in the best position because they've won over a lot of people. And if you've been won over, fine. Just know in your heart that you've been won over and you're supporting whatever happens next. And whatever happens next, it could very well, I mean, the chances are very likely it's going to be Jake Skywalker. The chances of them actually erasing the Disney trilogy are there. I mean, I'm not going to say it's impossible. Like I said, there's probably some YouTuber out there that's going to be the film gob version of the erasing Disney trilogy, erasing the Disney trilogy, and they're going to cut out every live streamer going, the Snyder Cut will never happen. And then there's going to be a big old reel of when the Snyder Cut happens. That's why you never want to say never. But whew, I don't know. Love the Luke scene. Felt like a kid again. Only way Disney will redeem themselves is to make sequels an alternate timeline created by Palpatine. Robbie Suits for $4.99. Here's the flaw with that. If Palpatine creates the timeline, that still makes it real. That still makes the Disney trilogy real because it was manipulated by Palpatine, who still eventually wins. So he creates another timeline to go lose in. So that timeline can't be created by Palpatine. I didn't know that was a caveat. No, it can't be a narrative thing. They just need to go, it don't exist. They don't need a fucking world between worlds. They're Disney. They're the god in this universe. They can go, it doesn't exist anymore. We're not going to use Veil the Force. We're just going to, it belongs in the legends now, and we're going to make our own story. And we don't have to come up with some timey-wimey story at all. That's called wish casting, right? Wish casting. Instead of theory crafting, wish crafting. But Robbie Suits, I would love for them to say that the Disney trilogy was a huge mistake and it just doesn't exist. And if you put it into Legends, I think the logic is that will make the people who like The Last Jedi happy that it gets put into Legends. No, it won't. It will not make them happy. It will make them very upset. They would be just as upset of that happening than it being erased altogether. There's nothing that's going to make Last Jedi fans happy. I mean, for one, they're Last Jedi fans. They don't want to be happy. They're only happy when other people are unhappy. I watch you for the entertainment, but we blew the COVID. I watch you for entertainment, but we blew the COVID response. I had 3 family members and 1 friend. I want to escape. Please stay on entertainment. Have a nice night, says John Watson for $10. Thank you for letting me know. I'm sorry that you lost members of the family. Yeah, I lost members of a family too. And because of the coof. I think we've all lost something. So yeah. It's a pretty serious thing. But as far as I think, John Watson for $10, everybody blew it. I think that's a pretty safe statement. Everybody blew it. We could have worked together a long time ago to fix this, but we didn't. That time has passed. But it's not about disrespecting family members, me wanting for people to go to work, because I got to worry about the living too. I'm very sorry that you lost people. Again, I lost somebody too. And you know what John wanted? People to go to work. But I still want people to be safe. You know what I mean? I don't want people to like rub up and down each other naked and start licking fucking doorknobs and shit. Hell no. No, I want protect the vulnerable, let the healthy work, and keep our economy going so we don't end up in like a fucking world war or something. Which, I mean, I'm not even being close to hyperbolic. I wish it was. A Scottish Nerd for £1.49. Thank you for the phallic unicorn. Gary, can I give you away? Says Crispy Critters for $2. Yes. Of course. 200 Watt Studios for $5. Vader series would be set shortly after episode 3 so they could have a POC nurse helping Vader learn how to walk again. She would be his muscle too. 200 Watt Studio. It's like you work for the Lucasfilm Story Group. Are you sure you're not Carrie Hart? M Tax Shark. Thanks, Gary, for $2. No, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Andre Fernandez for 50 Argentinian pesos. Gary, have you seen the 1-hour video about the production of The Hobbit? How the studio forced a horrible love triangle and other things. Oh, I've seen it. I've seen it, Andre. I still managed to enjoy The Hobbit because I'm a freaking Tolkien fanboy. I'm no lie. There is no shame to my game. I am a Tolkien fanboy, so I watched The Hobbit a lot. But dude, that triangle's terrible. Oh. I decided that I'm not inspired enough to pay for Disney Plus. Lots of good sci-fi books and fun old movies out there, says Phantom Boomer for $5. Yeah, I can't recommend it. Listen, if you like Gina Carano and you want to see Luke come back for 5 minutes, I think is there a free offer out there? I think you can get it for a month for free. You can burn through The Mandalorian in a day. It's 4.5 hours. It's like a really long movie. I am looking forward to seeing it in as a binge to review it, because I did enjoy it more season 1 anyway when I did that. Again, it went from a 7 out of 10 to like a 7.5 out of 10 afterwards. Does that mean it's a ringing endorsement of Disney? No. You convinced me. I just canceled my Disney Plus for 200 Watt Studio for $2. Good. Nerds, 200 Watt Studio. I love you. And you were happy with the Luke Skywalker return, right? I mean, it's fine to be happy with it. Again, nerds should boycott all mainstream media right now. Port film co-op for $2 Australian. Oh, it's hard to ask for boycotts, man. I'll tell you why it's hard and why I don't ask for boycotts. For one, there are innocent people who work at Disney. I don't talk about this very much. I have a very good friend who works for Lucasfilm. I do. We met through the comic book store. I do not talk to this friend about anything he works on, ever. It's because I don't want to get him in trouble at work. And believe me, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's one of us. He's one of us, and it affects them. But the other thing is, every time we've tried that, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And Port Film, thank you so much for the super chat. And I would just refer you to last Friday why we can't ask for boycotts, because look how many people just went back. It was just gone. And and I can't. I mean, yeah, going back full bore just on that one moment, a little much for me personally. But I hope people know the difference. Like, I don't care that you enjoyed the scene. That's great. But if you enjoyed the scene and like went, Disney, here's all my money. It's like, oh, okay. Maybe they weren't really down with what we were doing over the last couple of years. That's all I can say. JVH for 5 Canadian pesos. My girlfriend says, does watching the guy talk about Star Trek make you feel better about Star Trek? And my answer is yes. Thanks for doing what you do, buddy. Thanks. It's therapeutic. And tell her, I talk about Doctor Who too. It makes me feel better. I haven't even talked about Star Trek tonight, really. I will keep watching Mando until the story obviously moves towards the last 3 movies. Then I'm out, says Ian for £5. Okay, Ian. Ian, we're friends. Do you know that you're probably guaranteeing it's going to happen by fully supporting it? Now, there's a difference between watching it and supporting it. If you're just going to watch it and you review it or you watch it casually, all right. But that's probably going to guarantee that it goes towards the last 3 movies. So the same question was asked of me with the Song of Ice and Fire. I knew there was a very good chance that George would never finish the book, but I stayed a fan because I love it. Because I fucking love it. I thought it's some of the best books I've ever read. I love the theories about it. I love everything about A Song of Ice and Fire. But then there was just a point where I reached my threshold where I'm like, okay, I'm not giving and I gave George a lot of money. I went to Santa Fe, New Mexico, to go visit my mom, but I also wanted to see to see George R. Martin. And if I hadn't had to go back to my car to get my keys, I would have seen him in a restaurant because my wife got to see him. I saw him later. But then I went to Meow Wolf, and I went there because of George R. R. Martin. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the guy. But there's a point where I just went, enough. He's not getting another cent of my money until he finishes that book. And George hasn't done anything within his narratives. And I know where he stands politically, but he's never insulted fans. He's he told the people who said he was going to die to fuck off. But I mean, that's okay. That forgive him for that. But there was a point where I said, no, enough. I can't give you any more money, dude. Not until because you are disrespecting fans now. Now you are at the point where you're disrespecting fans by going out and buying fucking choo-choo trains and not, that's enough. Your only focus should be that book. No blogging about the fucking Jets or the fucking Giants or anything or the election. Finish the book. Every word you write should be the book. And then go fucking blog away about everything else. And if you're not feeling it, ask for help because the people who gave you money deserve a finished story. Oh, and if it's so hard, think about the dude who has to fucking work in the coal mine just to feed his family. And thank your lucky fucking stars you get to write, pretend for a living and make millions doing it. And you live in a country that allows you to do that. But Ian, Rebecca Gold, Ian, you're a Doctor Who fan. You saw what happened to that. And you know what brought on the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen? We Doctor Who fans not calling out the wokeness when it was there in the Capaldi era. When all of us were late on that. We should have been doing it then. We need to create our own separate culture and art, says Port Film Co-op for $2 Australian. Yes. And I think a lot of people are starting to do that. Ian, the super chat right above you, he does a web show called Rebecca Gold. So he's making his own stuff. We have Ethan and Richard and Malin and Cecil. Well, Cecil's not going to deliver. His thing is called Cash Grab. But we got a lot of guys over there at the Comics Gate and outside of Comics Gate doing their own thing now. That's great. It's absolutely a brilliant thing. And I think that it could work as far as books and comics are concerned. I would want to do an audio. I want to do an dramatized audio play. But I'd have to license something, and I don't know. I don't know if we could do it with an original thing. I don't know if enough people will be interested in it, but that's what I want to do. Plus, we got a big announcement tomorrow. Don't forget, big announcement tomorrow, 10 a.m. TK Not at Post for $5. Quote of the night, Boba Fett shrunk, LOL. Yeah, Boba Fett shrunk like a foot. Jeremy Bullock, I think, was 6'1"? And I think, God, who's the guy I'm sorry, I forget his name. He's 5'8", I mean, it's not a foot, but it's like 7 or 8 inches, man. It's a lot. He shrunk and got a little wider. Now, I'm not going to... Dad bod is fine. That doesn't bother me at all. Dad bods represent. Elizabeth Barlow, although I don't really have that dad bod anymore. I've lost all my COVID weight. Elizabeth Barlow for $2. I feel bad I can't get into Mando. I'm just jaded. Yeah, I mean, there is jaded. Jaded exists, Elizabeth. I don't know if you're jaded or you're just smart or you just don't want to get burned again, because there's a very, very good chance they're going to burn everybody again. Like, Ian, are you cool with that? I mean, 75% chance you're getting burned again, buddy. And I think that's a little low. Just keep that in mind. And if you, I think you could enjoy The Mandalorian without fully buying into Disney Star Wars. It's just a single show and you can focus on that. I don't know how much actual crossover it's going to have into the Disney trilogy, but what do you say right at this? Okay, so Mando, until the story obviously moves towards the last 3 movies, then I'm out. It's already done that, Ian. It's already done it. They got Grogu's blood that they're going to put into Snoke, that they're going to clone, and then give to Palpatine. It's already there. They've already done it. It's if they move away from it or not. But that obvious move towards the 3 movies has been done. Did you like Carnival Row? Josiah Finch for $4.99. Too intersectional for me. Just like so much man bad. I wanted to. I like Orlando Bloom. But I love Carnival. HBO's Carnival. Ooh, that show's great. Chris Z for $2. If the mouse fires Gina, I am totally out. Me too. No, I won't even talk about Star Wars if they fire Gina. It'll be dead to me. I mean, I'm not a fan anyway, but I wouldn't even talk about it. I'm with you, buddy. Nostalgia is drawing in the fans. However, nostalgia won't last long. I don't think Disney has the capacity to repair the damage done. I don't. I see a lot of hope from, well, there's the pragmatic view, like Az's point of view, which is it's just a show. I'm just going to watch this show and I'm not going to think much about it. That's pretty much where I'm at with it. It's just a show. It doesn't mean I'm signing off on shit. Doomcock wants to save all of pop culture. And I do too. I don't think I have the power to do that personally. So I'm just going to give you my opinion on stuff. And if it helps, great. What I'm trying to do is entertain people, bring awareness to things, and basically do what the access media won't do, is just try to sift through the bullshit. And you guys help me. I can't do it without you guys. I can't. And I don't know. That's I can't say I'm on this mission to, I don't think I have that kind of power. But I think it's good to talk about stuff that I think it's very good to break the narrative. I think breaking the narrative is something, well, big tech doesn't like very much, but I'm going to continue to do as much as I can. If it helps pop culture, cool. But I don't know, man. I thought we were on a good trek towards the end of 2019, but then it all went to hell, like with the rest of the year. I don't think Disney does have the capacity to fix the damage. They're never going to apologize. They're not going to get rid of Kathleen Kennedy or Pablo Hidalgo or Brian Young or any of those people. It just seems like there's a lot of people upset because it seems like a lot of people who are using the Phantom Menace hashtag forgot the last couple of years to a lot of people. And that's why the author, I want to get the tweet right. There was a tweet that went out a couple weeks ago from, here, I'll get the tweet. I don't want to misquote. I can't. Okay, Stephen Wayne Art put out a tweet. Basically saying a lot of people in the fandom menace need to apologize to Rian Johnson. And that tweet got a lot of responses. Because he saw that people were... Now, I don't know what spawned the tweet, but my guess is there was a lot of people praising The Mandalorian and thinking that Star Wars is back and Star Wars is saved. And if you certainly were in the Phantom Menace a couple of years ago and you believe that Star Wars is absolutely saved to you personally, okay, all right. And there's also writing what's popular. There's that too. And there's genuinely liking the moment. And like I said before, you can like the moment without signing off on Disney. I don't know how you can, if you were with us, if you were, on our journey over the last couple of years and you just saw that moment and you're like, everything's cool with Disney now. Okay. That one I have a hard time believing. Again, enjoy the moment. It was a good moment. It's fine. But there's that out there that people are just saying that the Phantom Menace is dead now because everybody's jumped on board with The Mandalorian. And, for the most part, a lot of people have. I don't know if they've come to terms with it or not, but they have. So like even Ian's like, I'm going to support it until they show it outwardly that they're going to go towards those 3 movies. And I would argue they already have. So we'll see. We'll see. If they veer away from them, that's cool. And like I said, my emotional attachment is completely severed. So I'm just observing this. So, I mean, Disney goes fucking woke as they want, and I'm not going to get bummed about it or upset because they've told us they're going to do that. And they've done it in the past. So if they do it again, we can't be surprised. But it might surprise some people again. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? That's fandom. That's fandom. And we can be our own worst enemies. If you watch The Mandalorian while pretending the sequels don't exist, it's 100 times better. Apparently, Filoni wants to use more from the Legends books, though. But look what we have to do. You have to go through these mental gymnastics to enjoy this thing. I got to pretend that the sequels don't exist, or I got to pretend they're being erased. Sure. If I watch every Star Trek episode pretending it's not connected to another series, then it's a new show. But no. If I have to pretend that the Disney sequels don't exist to enjoy something, then they failed. That's it. I don't want to have to go through that. You should see the writers on the stimulus bill. We're being distracted with a dangling carrot. Oh, it's barely I understand what you're saying. Alt-Shift-M for $5, but it's not even a dangling carrot. It's a dangling freaking piece of dirt. I mean, it's like nothing. It's a joke. George Perez for $5. What do you think of the majority of the COOF stimulus money going to foreign countries and federal buildings? I think it's complete bullshit. I mean, I don't think what you're saying is bullshit. I think it's complete bullshit. And the fact that we're sending money to foreign entities, which is true, by the way, it's the system being the system. What's the definition of insanity, ladies and gentlemen? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It applies to our current politicians, and it applies to Disney. I think a lot of people just wanted to be happy, and they were really happy to see Luke come back. And I think a lot of people have had a time to think about it. But yeah, the overwhelming response is, and I meant it when I said it earlier on, Disney is saved, or Star Wars is saved. It is absolutely saved. Not with me. Okay. Not with me. But with most of the fandom, they did all the work they needed to do. They don't need to erase anything. They don't need to do anything. It's saved. For a good, unless they royally fuck it up again, which they could do. They got 5 or 6 years of a lot of money, a lot of fans, and will The Mandalorian be The Force Awakens all over again? As far as it didn't give you much, it was mostly inoffensive, and man, did it make a lot of fans happy because they projected a lot more onto it than what was actually there. I believe the answer is yes. Just want to show support. Also, notice you got an arcade cab to your left. That's right. Do you have any personal thoughts on feelings on these arcade one-up machines? I love them. I freaking love them. I actually have a Star Wars one that is my son's, but it's in here because he couldn't fit it in his room. Here, I'll show you. These fucking mosquitoes are back in here. God, I hate these things. So I've got that, the Star Wars one, and this. That was in my comic shop. Let's picture me and Stan right there. There's my boys' art. And you could see I'm not quite finished. I'm almost done. This thing was not easy to put together. I got a pinball machine over here too. That's for my store. I hope these things work. I haven't turned them on yet. I'm afraid to. Because that freaking Spider-Man game, I put a fortune to fix that thing. And I don't have a fortune to fix it again. Does theaters also mean playhouses? Because movie theaters can go get bent. Maybe. I think, no, it does mean theaters as far as where plays are, and it also means live music venues. The inverse way for $5. So there is some places that are worth saving, like comedy clubs and stuff. Just want to support. Thank you again, Shiny311. Found hope for $5 Australian. 2020 is almost over. I hope 2020 does ask. I hope 2021 does ask us to hold its beer. I am not sure the world can take much more of the insanity. Not many more straws. Poor camel. I agree. 2021 needs to be a nice mellow year where people can go outside and live their lives. To respond to the super chat earlier, so many people misinterpret what I say. I don't know what people expect. I mean, COVID is serious. It's killing people. I understand that. We can't, I mean this, we can't lock down forever. Like, the world will fall apart. Like, it's not a joke. We need to make money. People need to go out and work. And yeah, it'll be risky. And it sucks. And if you're vulnerable, be safe. No, I don't want my mom getting sick or dying. But I also, and she's been locked up for fucking a year, in her building, like a prisoner. It's, they do the best they can, and they take a really good care of her, but it's affecting all these moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas who can't see their kids and stuff. And it's affecting everybody, and we're all trying to do our part. And it sucks that people are passing. Again, I just lost one, and we can say the COVID thing was sloppy. Sure, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Without a doubt. It's been absolutely sloppy. And it's because it happened in an election year, and it's because the parties wouldn't fucking work together, and they've all fucking failed us, and they all should be removed. Because they've all failed us. Our mainstream institutions have failed us. Big tech has failed us all. And we need to stop letting this happen. We're getting steamrolled, folks. And if we don't talk about it, we can't change anything. I would love to. There's little moments where we win, and that's good, because I want the people to win, because I want you to be happy. I want you to be free. Happy, joyous, and free. That's what I want. And right now, that's not happening. It's the little moments we got to take. We still got to live our lives. A government doesn't get to tell you what to do. And just because I'm saying it doesn't mean I'm telling you to be irresponsible and go out and get somebody sick. When I say, let's open this place back up, I mean it, because I don't think it really changes that much. I think, unfortunately, the people are going to pass anyway. The COOF is going to do what it's going to do. It's an absolute. And, I would love to think the vaccine is going to be this big savior. We'll see. I'll pass personally. A good decision would be to split the book into 2 separate books. Nicholas Horton it wins a winner. Yes. Well, no, because that will take him longer. He did that with A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons, and it took him another 5 years. I think he's close to saying, F it. That's just my personal thoughts. I could be wrong, but I think he's really close to saying F it. Here's what I think. I think the book was largely written and he went back and rewrote a bunch of it and fucked it up. Meant to say does not ask to hold us to beer. Oh, found hope. Okay. I read that wrong for $2 Australian. So you meant to say, I hope 2021 doesn't go hold my beer. Got you. Big Bear Nerd Fun. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate it, buddy. What's up, Phil Moore? I see you down there. Big Worm, what do you know about the Bill Burr anti-Star Wars rant from the past? I've seen a meme about it, but don't know the details. Rest in peace. Your father-in-law. Oh, thanks. Thanks to John. Long live and prosper. Thank you, Big Worm. Live long and prosper. I just said it wrong again. Man, it's like I've got on dyslexia of pop culture right now. Heard WikiLeaks dropped their vault. Oh, I didn't know that, Jack Random. Weird. For $2. I got to look into that. I don't know about the Bill Burr Star Wars rant. It's probably good, and I will look it up and let you know. Shadow Fenrir 24. Welcome to the Jaloja level. Hell yeah. You're going to get a members live stream on Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Plum Logan for $5. How soon does the Warner HBO Max deal lead to another writer's strike? Once everything opens up, they will immediately go on strike. Because it was about to happen before the coup. The writer's strike was about to go down. Shadow Fenrir for $5. Hail Gary, another live stream with the best. Trump really screwed us in the military with the tax breaks, which we now have to pay back. Why do you have to pay back the tax breaks? And how did Trump screw you, or did the Congress? I don't know about that. Are you in the military? Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I'm sorry to hear that you got screwed on tax. Personally, I love tax breaks. But they're not tax breaks if you have to pay them back. Yeah, I don't quite understand that, Shadow. I hope things get better. All I know is I paid the least amount of taxes over his presidency than I did my entire life. And prior to the coup, business was great. Everything was on the upswing. California was kicking ass as far as the economy is concerned. The small business was doing better than ever. And it all went to shit literally fucking overnight because of the responses with our local government. It could be different where you are. Aiden, thank you for the 70 Zardazes from South Africa. Hey, Gary, if escapism from the 80s was based on adventure and a story from the 50s, and today's escapism is based on 80s escapism, I'm not excited for the future escapism if it's based on today's stories. Yes. So you're talking about the rule of nostalgia. I just called it that. But so, okay, for one, 70s escapism was based on the 50s. So it's the late 70s, early 80s was 50s nostalgia. Happy Days, American Graffiti, and that's because of the 20-year rule. Once you become older, you start missing stuff from your childhood, and you have enough disposable income to kind of relive that stuff, right? So that's what pop culture is kind of based on. And then we went to the 80s, where the early 60s was in vogue, and then the late 60s came into vogue around 1985 to about 1994. Then 1994, the 70s got hot. And there was that 70s show and da-da-da-da. And the 80s have had a good long run. Like a little too long. We should be we should be into the 90s by now. And we're starting to creep in there. But as far as the rule goes, the 80s have lasted longer than anything. It was a good era. It was a good era. But everybody in the 80s was obsessed with the 60s. Absolutely obsessed with fucking hippies and fucking classic rock. And that's where classic rock started getting coined. And yeah. And it wasn't bad. Like there was dead shows and there was really hot girls who like dressed up like hippie chicks and dropped a lot of acid. It was fun. It was fun. But yeah, anything from 20 years based on this time, well, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be pretty bad. Melissa Lord for $5. My hero Luke Skywalker is back in true form. I just screamed Luke through tears of joy. To the king, hail to the King Favreau, who exorcised the demon Ruin Johnson. And that's Melissa saying it's been absolutely exorcised. And if you felt that way, that's cool. That's cool. Here's Raging Rhino for $2.99. You're the only person I can trust with Star Wars. And that's because I don't care about it anymore. Oh my God. I would love to have my pom-poms out and just go, The Mandalorian. I can't though. I can't. Sorry. Got to blow out my citronella candle. Raging Rhino, thank you for the $2.99 Australian. Listen, Jeremy's being honest, Az is being honest. Everybody's being honest. They're just like, hey, the moment got me. I'm a fan. I'm a nerd. Nothing wrong with that. It's a good moment. I think there's a lot of people who think there's a path to redemption with Star Wars, but it's with Disney Star Wars. And I think listen, a lot of those Raging Rhino, a lot of those people weren't in the trenches with like Ichibaka and Data Racer and others. Now, if and I don't know how they feel about it. Maybe they're happy about it. I don't know. I know Anna had an emotional response, but she's called that Star Wars girl. You know, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm not a Star Wars channel, so I will certainly cover it, and I will never shame a fan for being happy. No, especially when like I can recognize that was a genuine moment. Now, if you're going to be happy about like the 7th time somebody cries in Star Trek Discovery, okay, I might clown you a little bit. But, you know, Phil Moore for $5. Wouldn't it be funny if they make the First Order Luke's fault? He was too obsessed with rebuilding the Jedi Order. What a silly romantic he was. Phil Moore. Oh, I'm telling you, if they go towards the Disney, if they go towards the First Order, there's going to be some people ready to pounce with, I told you so. Just saying. Zack Snyder wants to talk to David Ayer soon about the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. He wants to release it too. Says Mikey Gussler for $5. I'm down. Sign me up. I am down with it. I think there was a lot of potential with that movie. I disagree with your earlier comment, which is totally okay. If I can't grind on my coworkers and lick doorknobs, I'm not going to work, says Chris from Michigan for $5. Okay, you just got to, okay, Chris, let's compromise here. You just got to decide between one of the two. You either grind on your coworkers or you lick the doorknobs. Make a decision, buddy. You can't have them both. Everybody's got to sacrifice. Mikey Gussler for $5. I know you said the time that Mandalorian episodes air, the air times are ridiculous. Yes, I do. What do you think of Wonder Woman 84 releasing at 9:30 a.m. and 12 p.m.? No, I think that's great. I think releasing at a set time is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I don't think the movie's going to be good, but I mean, that's smart. Then everybody watching it at the same time, then we're mostly going to finish it at the same time, and then we're going to start talking about it at the same time. There you go. And that gives the Friday Night Tights a chance to review it. So you'll get a Friday Night Tights review right here on this channel because there's going to be a Friday Night Tights Christmas special. Zack Snyder said that in early January. Oh my God. How long have I been going? For 3 hours? Holy shit. There's still over 2,000 people watching. Zack Snyder said in early January, we will get an exact release date for the Snyder Cut and a new trailer. I'm so hyped. I can tell you are. I thought it was March. So we're getting it in March, right? I'm fucking fired up, dude. I'm ready because you got me fired up, Mikey. Tracy Bullet for $5. I was late to the party. Hope this time slot becomes a regular thing. I don't know. Should it be? It can be for some nights, I guess. Here's my compromise, Gary. If you're going to cover those crap shows from Lucasfilm, then watch and make a video about My Hero Academia. You will love it. Okay, Max. Okay. I can do that. Somebody sent it to me and I got to watch it anyway. So, Dave Queenan for $5. I'm a hardcore original trilogy fan back to 77, and I like The Mandalorian well enough, but I'm deeply skeptical about the House of Mouse. And that's pretty much, that's what I would do going forward, David. I would be skeptical as hell, but doesn't mean you can't watch it. Someone should recut the last episode, the last ep of Matt Smith, Doctor, in which a way as to end the series with the Doctor dying heroically since he was supposed to be the last. Maybe. I mean, somebody can do that. Kasparis for $5. I mean, you all caught what he said. He threw some major fucking shade at the Christmas special. That was beautiful. Luke's scene is a powerful moment and it brings a feeling of hope, but I'm not gonna get hurt again, says McKinney90. What's up, McKinney90? Machini90. That's right? Machini? I always call you McKinney, but I think it's wrong. Sorry. My apologies. Thank you for the $5. Yeah. I mean, why bother setting yourself up again when you can let it play out? And if it plays out where they erase it, then you're free to enjoy it. But imagine, well, God, how many times have I heard other YouTubers say, I'm not going to get involved in a TV show because it might disappoint me. And I always say, and give it a shot at least. But this one, Disney has priors, folks. How they say it, in the pen, they got priors. There's a long history of disappointment. And they gave you a kernel. That was it. Ages flow. Welcome to the Geloja level. I appreciate it. And there'll be, by the way, thank you. Elizabeth Barlow for $5. I had to move back to my parents because of the coof. And it's been hard because we disagree politically a lot. I hope 2021 is better, but it's hard. I'm sorry, Elizabeth. I had to move back to my parents once. Lasted like 2 months. I thought I was going to kill him. It was my wife too. It was my first marriage. Crazy. Elizabeth, best of luck. Just maybe try to avoid politics. Talk about Star Wars instead. Luke was just on the fly, baiting and pick like Boba Fett, says, how do I say your last name? Masage R for £2. He was just on the fly, baiting and pick like Boba Fett. Yeah, he was just buzzing by. That's all. That's what I got out of that super chat. I could be wrong. Keaton Smith for $4.99. Hail Nerdrotic. When will EVS next be on Friday Night Tights? And could you check out Snowman, A Cold Day in Hell on Indiegogo? Book looks awesome. Yeah, I can do both. EVS will be back on probably within a couple months, a month maybe. I don't know. We have no guest for Friday if he wants to come on Christmas Day, but he's got his family, But if he wants to come in on Friday, he can. I need to talk to him anyway. I actually need to ask him a couple of questions. Tox Fox for £5. Hey, Gary, what do you think of the new take from modern day comics prehistoric mutants and the fact that mutants and humans evolved simultaneously? Is that from you mean X-Men? Tox Fox from 5 pounds? That mutants and humans evolved simultaneously? I don't know. No. Namor's the first mutant. That's the Apocalypse, but I thought Namor was always the first mutant to me when I was growing up. Then there's Apocalypse. But if they're changing something, I don't give a shit what Marvel does now. I don't care because Star-Lord is bi, and I refuse to recognize anything they fucking do. As a matter of fact, Marvel ended for me in Secret Wars, when Secret Wars started. So towards the end of the Marvel Now shit, done. I don't recognize anything they do after that. Will Gentry for 2 pounds. What did Matt Smith say? Please enlighten me. Will, watch my video. It's in my video, Will. You can go watch it there. I have a Doctor Who video. Jack Random for $2. Will Disney do a John Carter series? God, I hope not. Thank you for the super chat, Will, but I made a nice long video that I really appreciate if you'd watch. Draco for $5. Jack Random. I love the John Carter movie that they did. And Bob Iger like deliberately fucked that thing over because of Star Wars. And it pissed me off because I thought it was pretty good. And they should have called it John Carter from Mars. Draco Argentinius for $5. Argentus. Okay, thank you. Creative excellence enhanced by data-driven audience insights. That's from Bob Chapek himself. Just one kernel made lots of data. Oh, Draco. Thank you. Oh boy. Jamstradamus 75 for $5. Hail Gary, not enough people signing up for the vax. So the fear porn must be ramped up from XX to XXX in the UK. Oh, you mean the 70%, the mutant strain? Yeah. You never know. I'm not allowed to question things here at all, but I'm sure you can tell from my facial expressions. It's all full of shit. Sorry, I sneezed right there. Something. I stepped away from the MCU after Endgame. After following what's going on with Marvel in the late 2010s from guys like Zach, I saw it coming a mile away. Oops, my mistake. The MCU. Machini 90. Bless you. Bless you. Thank you for the $10. Dude, yeah. Well, honestly, Marvel Comics foreshadowed all of entertainment, didn't they? And now, here at the end, while we lord over the ashes of our franchises, it's fucking Star Wars. It's the most healthy. I can't believe it. I can't fucking believe it. Of all people, to figure it out in a moment. And that's all I'm willing to give them in a moment. Cecil. What's up, Cecil? Hail, Gary. Hail, chat. Fun stream. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, my friend. Thanks for the kind words. I appreciate it. All right. I'm going to have to wrap it up. If I missed the super chat, I'm sorry. I'll do it in a square up. I've got to finish my Luke Skywalker video that you pretty much heard. Oh, and Will Gentry, I can't believe you didn't get the notification for my Doctor Who video. I'm so shocked. It's 8 a.m. You think Az is up yet? Problem being, seeing that you worship him. Hey, Az, you awake? I got to send you something. I got to send him something. So it's so weird because Az is just waking up now. I'm going to go to sleep and then he's going to wake up and then I'm going to wait. You know, he'll be up all night and then I'm going to and we're going to do a show in like 12 hours and it'll be like one day for him. It'll be like 2 for me. It's so weird. The planet's round. It's because the planet is round. Holy shit. I owe you and Lord, you owe us nothing, Cisco Kid, for $50. I owe you and Lord Doomcock a very big thank you after hearing you two talking up The Expanse last night. I started watching it, binged it, the first 7 episodes, and about to go into the 8th. Great seeing you on this late. Thanks again. Cisco Kid, thank you for the $50. Wow. Watch The Expanse. Expanse is the best show on television. It's the best written show on television. It's better than The Mandalorian, like a lot. The Mandalorian has a lot of cool Star Wars stuff in it, but if you want a story with like characters and plots that make sense and that doesn't have to rely on anything other than talent, watch The Expanse. Now, The Mandalorian is probably the second best show out there for sure, without a doubt. I can't think of much. I look forward to watching The Mandalorian at least. I'm dreading Star Trek. It's so much so that I put off my review. Like, it's going to be really late. So, Tox Fox, thank you for the pound. I appreciate the donation again, Cisco Kid. And everybody go check out Cecil. Cecil's one of the funniest men on this platform, and I love him to death. So everyone, have a great night. Be good to each other. And I want you all to have like the merriest of Christmas. I hope you had a great Hanukkah. To our Jewish friends out there and anybody else who's other denominations, I hope you're solsticing or whatever is that going on right now. So the author Stephen Walton and his fellow pagans are, I don't know, getting coffee enemas and dancing around a giant wooden pole naked or something, whatever pagans do. People against goodness and normalcy. That's what they are. That's what they are. And everybody else have happy holidays. Be sure to tune in to the Friday Night Tights Christmas special. Be sure to tune in to the Real BBC on Az's channel tomorrow at 10 a.m. for our big announcement. And I have a Doctor Who video. I got a Star Wars video coming out. And then after that, my Mandalorian video. And then after that, a big surprise. Ciao, everyone.
Nerdrotic.com.
And everybody on Friday Night Tights. And y'all have a good night.